Can hear you. We're good. There you go.
Hey, you know what? This is when you know it's gonna be a good interview, man. When it's
Yeah.
done like that. That was funny, man. I can see your mouth moving. It's like, what's good?
They tried to hold us down, but man, I appreciate you for taking the time up for this. I've been watching what you've been doing over the last few years, and man,
Thanks, man.
People need to start knowing about this because like this new phase in your career, you've already had a legendary career prior, but the stuff you're doing with Bobby V, Shawn Stockman, Raheem DeVaughn, Brian McKnight, just to name a couple, #1 hits, producing whole albums. Just talk about this journey that you've been on.
Well, you know what? It's crazy. We got time, so I could just take it all through. So,
oh yeah,
what happened, man, is you know, I mean, me and Bob, we was together for like rocking for. I mean, you can even go even back when we was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So that adds up to like maybe 30 and change. You know what I mean? So it's like we didn't even know we was gonna even be producers. It's just like, you know, God blessed us, man, and you know, we kept working on our craft and all the instruments we learned how to obviously try to master, and ended up with a couple #1 joints, man. Get It Up. TLC was our first one with Dallas because he the one that signed us. But we'll get to all that. But I'm just saying, it's like to lead up. It's like, you know, when you with somebody for that long, you kind of want to, and then, you know, it turned into, you know, everything was VSTs and plugins. So now it was like, it went from like when I did Slow Down beat and like for Bobby and Tell Me, that was just all through the MPC. Like I can press one button right now, and I did it for later on if we want to do a demonstration.
Yeah.
I just did all them joints in the MPC, and we would take it to the studio, plug in, the beat sounding just like it is, all that, and then Bob would had guitar on it, and then we just write it. So it went from that to then like slowly but surely it started like, you know, gravitating towards more plugins and like VSTs and all that. So I still use my MPC to this day, but what I'm saying is like, you know, when it did that, it's like Bob started to get his rig together. We started getting a lot of endorsements, Native Instruments. Shout out to them, Arturius, shout out to my family over there, on and on and on. And then I just started just getting more and more. I started going a little deeper in it because I started making sound packs,
right,
and all that stuff. So it went from me gravitating over there and then Bob, you know, doing his thing over there to where it was like we were just sending each other's joints. And I think that he developed his own little sound within Tim and Bob.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I did too. And then we just started, you know, more and more like, hey, you know, let's just try this, man. I'm gonna try my little thing off over here. I'll try my thing off, and then did that. And in the midst of that, that's when when Brian just hit me out of nowhere, and he was telling me, man, hey man, I'm with this guy, and blah. This kid, he called me in China, man. He was in China doing a show. So we was gonna work on this artist that's really big over there. We'll get into that too, because it's with all that things. But I'm just trying to tell you the long way on, since we got a lot of time. And then one thing led to another. Me and Brian, when Brian came back, Brian hit me in 3 days, said, hey, I'm home, come on up, right? So one thing led to another. We wasn't even really, we was working on, the artist loved what me and Bob did, and they wanted to work on me, this Asian artist. So he came to live with Brian for like 2 months or something like that. So me and Brian actually was working on him first. And then Brian, like 2 weeks later, just pressed play. I'm like, what's that? He's like, oh man, I forgot to tell you, man, I'm working on the album too. So I'm like, wait, you did say something about it, you know, when you was there. He's like, yeah, man, but he wanted to really just concentrate on him so we can get him back to his group, because I think his group was going to start an album, or he was going to start a solo album or something like that. But then me and him, as usual, what we do, I've been knowing Brian, man, all my life. That's like one of my best friends, man. And we just started messing around, and one thing turned into another. Before you know it, it was our album. So that was like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and that's when the Genesis album came out. And what happened was we would do 2, and he'd turn it in. And I wasn't in that process yet. Like, I didn't even know what SRG was, what CV was. What up, CV, if you're watching? But I didn't even know who it was. He was just turning it in, and he hit me. He was like, hey, yo, Tim, come on out, man. He was like, man, the CEO, he loving what we doing. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. So I drive back out there because you don't live that far from me. You just get on the highway to, if you know about California, get on the 101, skate on down, you know, and I go get to his crib. So 1 turned into 4, 4 turned into 6, and then we just kept doing that. And he was like, yo, he said he loving what, just go ahead.
Wow.
Right? So when we were done, he really was like, wow, I really like the body at work. We don't even need to even go anywhere. So I was like, okay, wow. So that's what he was telling Brian. Mind you, I didn't have any contact with him. So I went from that to Brian was like, hey man, you want to mix them, man? And I was like, oh, it's to that stage right now? Because he knows I mix everything I've ever done for the most part. Like if I didn't mix it, I sub-mixed it, or I mixed it and I gave the engineer credit so they can go on their own, you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, let me do it, man. So I just started the mixes, turned them in, one thing led to another. Then finally the CEO hit me up on email. And then we started going back and forth on email, and then he hit me up, and then we just started talking. He's like, I think you're the future of SRG, man. Now, mind you, he only had what, one black, well, if you take 6 and then Brian, them the only 2 he had. It was really like a jam band, like boutique little label thing going on at first. So he's like, I think you're the future of SRG, man. I said, I can be. And then he was like, he started asking me how fast do I do music, and I'm like, as fast as you want to, dude. Fast and is effective. I mean, you know, I've been built, I've been trained, I trained for this. You know what I'm saying? I cried for this stuff. I researched. I got too much information, like for doing albums and whole albums from just learning from listening to Jam and Lewis and Janet, where they did the interludes and how they just put albums together, which I think they're the kings of like putting an album to make it into a story. You know what I'm saying? So I picked all that out, and I was just telling him that. And then he just was like, I want you to be head of A&R.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, really? So then he was like, matter of fact, man, just find some artists, man. So then that's when it all started. And it started first, man, I wish this would have went through, man. It still might work. We'll see. But the first one I hit up was Genuine.
Oh, wow.
Had Genuine signed everything, because he gave me the ability to just do the deal right there with somebody on the phone. So I hit up G. I said, G, man, I know you've been looking, you know, because I work with, obviously, TGT. You know, and then I worked with Genuine before that, too. I've been doing Genuine for forever. So I just thought of, like, who could just set it off, and then I can just, and I knew I was going to get to Bobby, but I wanted it to kind of roll first before I hit Bobby up. So hit Genuine, man. Going through, we got everything done. Everything was done. So this is how we usually do it. I do the deal and get them, reel them in. And then once I get them to commit, like, yeah, okay, all right, I want to try it. Because, you know, usually artists like Genuine, like, nah, man, the label thing, man, nah, man. I'm like, nah, dude, this is just, we don't even really have anything. This is just like, you know, Brian is the only one. You'll be the next. And then Brian co-signed on it too. Brian was like, yeah, let's get it. You know what I mean? So I went hard on it. He's like, all right, man, let's just go and do it, man. Clicked over, got CV on the phone. We worked it all out. CV went even deeper, giving them incentives like, you know, if you sell this much, you'll get this, so on and so forth. I'm going to fly you here, you know, all that. I'm all set up, ready to go, excited as heck. So, right? Everything going. So, never forget this, man. My wife can talk. We laugh at it too every now and then. We're at Brian's, he did a little like impromptu like little thing. It was in Orange County, right? So he's doing his set, you know, Brian doing his set and all that. And all of a sudden I kept getting a call from CV, Claude that on SRG. And he was like, and I was like, dang, should I answer or should I wait? Because I wasn't gonna be able to hear him anyway because the music was so loud. Because Brian was actually doing a concert, you know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, let me wait, man. But he kept hitting me. So finally I said, babe, I'll be right back. I go down a little further so I can hear him. Like, what up? He was like, yo, man, the Genuine deal's off, man. And I'm like, huh? He said, yeah, man, his lawyer hit me up, man. It just, he wanted them no nonsense dudes, man. He wanted them you haven't met a guy like this right here. He wanted them dudes like, if he wanted done, he can like it's like no other. It's like I've never seen it before. It's like he say, "All right, Tim, go." I'll go, and then even when I'm not even done with the album, he'll be like, "Hey, I think this is a single right here, man." I'm like, "You think so?" Because I'm
Wow.
like, "All right." I mean, I'm game for all of them. You know what I mean? Every now and then we'll go back for, but most of the time we'll know when we hear it. He can put it out in the next week, man. Like no label can do that. He can put out pow next week.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Then we have everything in place too, man. Like it goes really fast now that the system is moving. But to jump back and forth, took us off, man. I'm like, I said, man, he was like, man, this lawyer calling me, man, with this bull. I don't want to cuss, man, but he was like, with this bull, you know, da 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 da. And I'm like, all right, hold on, let me call G. So I hit G, and he was doing a concert that night too. I said, yo, I said, hit me when you get off. I said, man, it's funny style with your lawyer.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So he was like, huh? I don't get it, man. Right? Make a long story short, man, went back and forth and back, and it just didn't work out. So he was like, all right, next, man. So who we got? I'm like, I mean, name them. I've worked on, you know,
Everyone.
who's who. You know what I mean? I either did a joint and it didn't come out, or I did a joint that it leaked and then it didn't come out. It's like, or it came out. You know what I'm saying? So like we just brainstormed. He was like, what about Monica, man? I'm like, it's like my little sister. So then I hunted Monica down, and that was when she was in the midst of wanting to do her own stuff with her own little label. So Melinda, her manager, she was like, nah, thanks but no thanks, you know, da 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 da. Brandy, same way. So because I was looking for somebody like that was in between, but still everybody would know him. So Genuine, Brandy, Monica.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. So I'm like, dang. Man, I said, I don't want to look crazy now to CV because they all, you know what I mean? Even though they ain't my fault, but they was, you know, he was thinking that I can pull them from whatever they was doing. But, you know, once you kind of like, you know, scratched and, you know, messed up and, you know, battles with labels, man, you just like, I want to just try it on my own. You know what I mean? So that's what happened with them. So finally, the thing went down with Bobby in the midst of that. When that scandal and that whole weird, I don't want to go deep into it. But I was like, dang, man, I want to get to Bobby, man. But I'm like, forget it. I hit him up, right? So he's like, yo, man, what's up, big bro? I'm like, what up, man? He was a sad, man. He was like, dang, man, I messed up, man. I'm like, what? So I was acting like I didn't know because I wanted to see how he was going to tell his side of it. And then he just started talking about it. I'm like, he didn't mess up, man. I'm like, man, hit records, you know, covers a multitude of sins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? R. Kelly was king of that.
Yeah.
He got too deep with it. But like, you know, that's how I work. I'm like, look, I start talking to him like for a week straight, going back and forth. I'm saying, look, we need to do this. I'm like, man, you know, I'm head of A&R over at this joint, and it's through Universal, and the CEO was cool as heck. You know what I'm saying? Da 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 da. He was like, all right, man, let's try it. I said, okay, so well, and you know, in a perfect world, what do you want? What would you want? He said, huh? Because you know he ain't used to me talking to him like this. It's usually like, Tim, man, I need 5. Be like, oh, okay, cool. You know, and then we do it, and whoever label he with, it worked. But now I'm the label, so it was weird him hearing me saying like, what do I? You know what I mean? I'm like, what do you want, man? I'm like, I can actually do the deal right now. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I said I can do the deal right now. Same thing with Genuine. They was really surprised at that because, you know, it just don't usually work in a time like this, man. Like, especially if you're talking a year and a half ago, like somebody asking you what you want. It's like that was like back in like Boyz II Men TLC days, man. So we worked out a deal, you know what I mean? And then I did the same thing. I clicked over, hit CV up, and CV already knew I was gonna hit Bobby. So Bobby came here, did the same thing we did on all the album. Well, the first album when I started off with the album, I started off with it first because Bob's mom I think she had a stroke around that time. She got really sick or something like that. So I just had Bobby come move with me. So I almost did the same thing. We just met at this, we call it the hole in the wall, man. It was funny, man. Because it was my little engineer. I had him coming up under me, man. He was really, really good too. But he had a little room in the hood, man, like out of nowhere. And you walk up, and it was just like, I don't know, this old school instruments. It was like, it was weird, but it would get like at night, if it was hot, like, because we did it in the summertime too, and it was blazing in there. Yo. You almost had to take your shirt off, yo.
Wow.
Because it was like brick, and it was just like no air coming through, you know what I mean? So we had to buy fans eventually and all that, but I don't know, it felt good because it was it felt like the grind again, like we did on the first album.
Yeah.
So we just kept moving and grooving, doing 3 and 4 a day and all that, and then we ended up with what's the joint? The first joint we did, single, Snoop. Shout out to my boy Snoop, man.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So Snoop showed up again, man. He did one. He did They Don't Know with Jon B too. So Snoop always show up for us, man. So he just showed up. He said, send it to me. We sent it to him. He flipped it and did his thing on it, and then he just sent it back. He's like, man, y'all just do y'all thing on it, man. Just holler at me whenever. I'm like, you don't want it? Because we was bracing for, like, you know what I mean, that 50,000 feet, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, go ahead, do your thing, man. I love you guys together, man. Let's see what it do. So that, you know, that did pretty good, and then all of a sudden we went from that to like 2 other singles, and then after in the middle when I was doing that, you know, they were doing that part. So then now I'm thinking like, okay, if this blow up, I need to have something behind it. So I'm thinking like, dang, oh, and then he was like, what about Boyz II Men, man? And I'm like, dang, that's a good, because I just did some songs with them on the 20 album, the 20th anniversary, and they did a deal with Walmart. So we still was all talking and still whatever. So I was like, dang, I'm gonna be able to pull this off, because I think each one of them had a manager, and then the band had a manager. So you're talking what 3, 4 managers, and then like 2, 3 other consultants they had. I'm like, man, how I'm put? I'm like, I don't know. So I gave it a shot. And, oh, mind you, I was already working with Shawn, because Shawn had a little studio in Hollywood. So I was going up there. We were already messing around doing songs and all that, right? So I'm like, I hit Shawn first. So I was like, Shawn. I was like, and I actually did the same thing how I did Genuine and everybody else, do the pitch. Shawn was like, huh. He said, call Nate, man. Call Nate, and then hit me back. I was like, all right. I hit Nate, man, before I even could get it all out. He said, nah, I don't want to do it, man. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, come on, Nate, man, we can do it. This, you know what I mean? We ain't got no restrictions, no label heads telling us, no, this not a hit. This is just all. Nah, man, because, nah, man, I'm in a place right now where, you know, we just did the 20 album, and then we're doing stuff. He's like, man, it's just like, music industry is just weird right now. I'm like, but y'all still y'all still Boyz II Men. Come on. So that was my last thing I said. The conversation didn't kind of, you know, so I was like, I knew Shawn was ready. He didn't want to tell me, but he was ready to do it. He was ready to do his own album. Because he was building up to him. He was always talking about it. So when I hit Shawn, Shawn was like, let's do it. I was like, are you kidding me? One of my favorite singers. Because Shawn, one of my favorites, still one of my, Brian and Shawn, they one of my favorite singers, males. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm about to do a whole album with one of my favorite singers. And I already know how we get down, because, you know, the first one we did was Can I Touch? Remember the song Can I Touch You from 112?
Yeah.
Shawn did that demo. And Wanye did a little bit. No, Wanye and Shawn did the backgrounds, if I remember. And Shawn did the bridge part and some other stuff. He was working on Another Bad Creation, if you can believe it or not, 93.
Wow.
So that's when I first heard Shawn, man. It was like just angels floating around when he get in the studio, when he get in that booth, yo, man. I'm telling you, he is magical, man. So anyway, I'm thinking all that when he said he wanted to do it. I'm like, we about to show out. Talk to Shawn, got CV, bam, Shawn was on. Then I did Feeling on Something. And then the other one came out. I don't know, I'm forgetting the titles of the songs, man. What was that one that was after Feeling on Something? All I Do.
All I Do, yeah.
When we did All I Do, man, do you know, man, I was #1 on SiriusXM. It was #1. It was crazy, man. We didn't even really, because after we did Feeling on Something,
Yeah.
it started like the label started growing more and more and more. Vivian, here comes Vivian Green, here comes Raheem, here comes Oz. So it started like, you know, so we didn't really like press on All I Do. And lo and behold, man, that was the one. No money, no marketing, no nothing, man. And it was like #1 for about like 2 months. It was off and on for like 2 months, man, on Sirius, man. We were like, wow, this is crazy. So make a long story short, let me see if we go back. What, 3 on Bobby's first? Well, 3 on Brian's first album. I think 3 or 4 singles. Then 3 on Bobby's album, and then went to Shawn.
Yeah.
And then Raheem. So basically, in like a year and a half, I got like 15 singles, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and nobody even know it. That's what the funniest thing is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like 15 singles, man. Like that was like the old way we used to do it in the 90s. Like all of us, like Teddy, Dallas, Jam and Lewis, all of it. It'd be like that. I mean, like it's usually a single. It's a singles game, but that many, I'm like, I didn't even realize until I went back and and then CV was telling me, he said, man, you know, you got 15 singles right now, man. I'm like, huh? 15? Wow. You know, so just one thing led to another, man. And it's just a blessing, man, that, you know, that happens to you. It really happens, man, that you get a chance to, you know, go from, you know, you're right here, and then you think you got a little ceiling and you're like, okay, I need a #1 hit that bad. And it just went like from #1 hit to like 15 singles. So I'd rather have, put it this way, man. I heard Terry say this, man. Terry Lewis. He was like, I'd rather be lukewarm than blazing hot for a time stretch.
Sure.
So if you you know, the water, you know, if you just pour some hot water in a bathtub or like a sink, it's gonna eventually get lukewarm anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you start lukewarm and if it can just last, you know what I'm saying? It's just like a candle to a wick. You got a real good candle and you light it and it lasts a long time. You just want that wick to just last, man. So I think, man, that's what happened to me. God just blessed me with that. And I was able to, like, you know, have that beautiful candle from God and then just that lukewarm feeling I have. And I can now, you know, sit back and then I can, you know, hey, I want to work with this. I want to work with this. It's time for new artists now, obviously, but we're just building to get different artists like the ones that, you know, I'm telling you about right now. So
no, like the
Take
amazing
6
thing.
too. Take 6.
Take 6. Yep.
Look, check this out. And one more. I know we're gonna talk about a lot. Okay, so Take 6, man. We had a group. Me and Bob had a group, man, from our hometown, man. We had them signed. And it just didn't work out. We did the whole album. Album was stupid too, man. It was called what was the name of the group, if I can remember that? I'm forgetting everything, man. But anyway, it was our guys, because it was a church group we had. We just turned into an R&B group, obviously. Had them a deal with Atlantic. Eric Sermon helped us out, and then that didn't work out. So we had to put some money to get for the reels. We had to pay for that back because some of the ones we did that we liked. So we had them, then we had our DreamWorks deal. That fell through. We was like, dang, I messed up. And I don't know, just to go from, you know, that to, you know, where I'm at right now, like I said, man, it's like really tripped out, man. It really is. It's a great feeling, man. And, you know, I'm humbled by it too, because you think about, I don't want to name any names, you know what I mean? Obviously, because I'm fans of all of my boys and my, you know, my dudes that started with me like in the 90s, like in the middle of the 90s. I'm all cool with all of them still to this day. So, but what I'm saying is, it's like, it's just rare that you can just like have a whole nother career. And what makes it so bad, they didn't even know my last. That's why people don't even know that I did them, because they thought my last name was Bob, man. Tim and Bob, they like, oh, Tim and Bob. They didn't even know my last name unless you look at credits. People don't look at credits no more. So when they said Tim Kelley, me and my wife always argue. She's like, why do you want to just keep saying Tim and Bob? I'm like, babe, they don't know my last name. They don't know our last name. They don't know Kelley. So I got to go Tim Kelley of Tim and Bob for just a minute till it rolled. I still
Yeah.
almost got to do that because it's still kind of brand new. I've only been doing it for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do it every now and then, just people can know it's me. You know what I mean? But that's what hold that. We'll get to that later down the road.
Yeah.
I know you got some other questions, man.
No, I mean, I just got to commend you so much on, getting Bobby V back in that element, bringing Brian McKnight back in that element, and as diehard R&B fans, you don't know how long we've been waiting on a solo Shawn Stockman album. Like, you got
Man,
all of
you
that.
and me both.
Yeah, like you were able to do all of that. So I gotta commend you on that. And even with your role at SRG and even your new role at Universal, like amazing. Like just the growth in your career. It just keeps going.
Thanks. I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it, man. I appreciated that there's a few people now coming along and they're starting to be like, wait a minute, man. That's
Yeah.
Tim Kelley. He used to be with Tim. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's doing that? I'm sure Bob got the same thing. When he said
Yeah.
Bob Robinson, they like Robinson. Bob? That's your last name? So
Yeah.
I'm sure Bob going through it, man. And then just to clear the air too, man, like me and Bob, that's my little brother, man. Like everything's still cool. You know what I mean? I remember when I was trying to see if I can jump on when you talked to Bob.
Yeah.
But I want to jump on and let everybody know, like, it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
It's still little brother I never had. We move on, man. And I'm sure if like somebody hit us up big that's like, hey, I want you and Bob, I'm sure he won't turn that down, and
Yeah.
I won't either. Put it that way. So, but for right now, we just enjoying our careers right now, man. He doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, shout outs to Bob. That guy's a monster as well. Just like
oh
you are.
yeah,
You guys,
he's
like,
talented, man.
I mean, just like early on, like I've heard the story from Bob, but just the grind that you guys had to go through in the early stages of your career. Two guys that just wanted to make great music. Like, talk about that journey, man.
Man, I heard Bob go through it, but let me try to say some stuff that he didn't say and go through. I mean, the grind was crazy, man, because it was like all God's plan. Because we went from my mom's basement,
Mm-hmm.
me learning how to mix on a 4-tracker, and then we ended up getting like sequences and all that. So it went from that, and that was me by myself, and then for me meeting Bob, and then the day I met him, it's crazy. The day I met Bob, we didn't separate, dude. It was like he was coming to my mom's basement every single day. To when
Wow.
his family moved to New York, because Dad ended up getting a preaching gig in Syracuse. It was to the point where Bob, we knew what we had if we like got a chance. You know what I'm saying? So Bob was like, hey man, ask your mom and dad, man, can I just stay in the basement? Mind you, I think he was in 11th or 12th grade. He didn't even finish the 12th grade yet, I don't think.
Wow.
So I just told my mom, and my mom was like, really, you think this mom? I think this mom? I was like, well, if you call her and tell, maybe, you know what I'm saying? So I was doing this. She was like, y'all want me to call his mom and tell her I'm gonna take care of y'all overgrown. But I'm like, come on, mom, please, come on. So eventually she called his mom, because they was already cool. Talked to her, and she was like, he in good hands, and so on and so forth. So we had the basement to ourselves, man. We just grooving down there, man, and just perfecting it to the point where we was able to try it. So it's funny, man. We went to Atlanta. We drove to Atlanta, and we stayed at Tion's crib for a minute, T-Boss, because she was trying to get us. This is how ironic. I don't know if Bob said this part, man. This is really important. It's because it's weird. We were staying with Tion in East Point. That's what she was at when they did the first TLC album, right? So we was even in the video, Hat to the Back video, I think. Remember that song, Hat to the Back, Dallas did? Hat to the Back. So we in that video, man, the whole night. And I see in the corner, Dallas came in with a whole bunch of crew. And Dallas was like producer of the year that year. He had Hot 100, producer of the year, Hot 100, R&B, everything but country. He did it all, because he just did Boyz II Men, Another Bad Creation, and TLC.
Yep.
And After 7 and like a couple of, he's just like number one, bam, 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 boom, boom, right? He comes in, man. I'm like, oh, no way, man. Dallas, man, no way, man. So I go over to T. I'm like, T, I said, yo, man, just let me, I just wanted to say I love his music. Because, I was one of them ones where from where we're from, man, you can't, put it this way, you can't, and then computers and the internet wasn't out.
Nope.
So you had to read a lot of magazines, man. So I always was reading like behind. I always did that since I probably was a kid. But looking on the back of albums, like, you know, to the point where I didn't know what a producer was and a writer with a producer. I thought it had to be together. That's how I eventually learned. Because I already knew how to write and I knew how to produce, but I'm like, okay, do I get people to come in? Then I'm looking at Jam and Lewis and Alexander O'Neal, produced, written, arranged, you know what I'm saying, by Jam and Lewis. I'm like, I don't listen to them. Ella and Babyface, I'm like, okay, you know, Karen White, you know, on and on and on. They was working on The Deal, Babyface's albums, everything they was doing, The Boys, all that. Produced, written, arranged, by Babyface, by Ella and Babyface, written by Ella. So I'm like, oh, it's a new thing. This new thing now. Okay, all right, let me work on that more. So when I met Bob, I'm telling Bob all that. So we just started like getting like local people we knew that sung in like in the choir at the church, just come and do our demos. So we had demos. Now simultaneously, Bob, his dad just offered him some crazy money, man. Just wanted him to come home. So Bob was like, hey man, my dad want me to come home, man. This is like maybe like after a year, I think. So he goes to Syracuse, right? Goes to Syracuse, and when he go to Syracuse, Aretha Franklin's church from Detroit came in to Bob's dad's church. Yeah. So the pastor, which was Aretha Franklin's grandfather, heard Bob play, offered him a job. And then Bob hit me up and said, hey man, guess what? He told me all about it. I'm like, Detroit? Really? So we had a few relatives in Detroit, and I know how it is, man. It ain't no joke. Like from 7 Mile on down all the way downtown is the hood. You know what I'm saying? And then there you go across some train tracks to the east side. It's like you really had to know how to move and shake. And it's like that a lot of cities, but Detroit is just built a little different. You know what I mean? It's weird. If anybody out there that's been to Detroit, they know what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, escaping it, man. It's crazy. So anyway, all right, yeah. So Bob gets there, and then he meets these guys that own the studio Sound Suite, which everybody in the Detroit area and even Flint, I'm talking about Ready for the World, Anita Baker, George Clinton, Funkadelic, all them, man. On and on and on. Wine is everybody. They worked at the studio. So some kind of way, one of the dudes that Bob was playing with at the church, he gave him the demo to this boy, this guy Mike that owned the studio. He loved it so much. He was like, "Who's doing all this stuff?" He said, "Me and my partner, man." So, long story short, Bob told me, man, I already had my bags packed because I was thinking like I was gonna go either Syracuse or wherever you mean. So, but Bob said he was in Detroit, and he said, "I'm here." I'm like, "Okay." He said, "Man, he want to fly you here." I'm like, "Bags packed."
Wow.
Got there, man, and when we got there, it was weird because when we got in the basement, it was all furnished. So we was like, "Wow, man!" When we were staying there, we were staying at the basement of my man. I think it was Mike Powell's girlfriend. Yeah, it was, and it was her basement. So she was nice enough to let us stay in the basement. Now, mind you, she had somebody that was living down there with her that was from her sorority, from her college, whatever. And she left all the stuff down there, but we didn't know it. We just thought it was just fully furnished. TV, like couches, beds, and we was like, this is crazy, man. We dapping each other up. We like, hey, not only we in a whole basement, man, and it's like different rooms and pool table over here. We like, wow. Oh, we even hit one of our boys, man, and had him come like stay with us for a minute, man. All of a sudden, I never forget, man. We go to the studio one day, and we come back, everything gone, dog. Oh, because it was one of them basements where it was cemented. You know what I'm talking about? And it wasn't any like carpet anywhere. It was just cement and throw rugs all over the place. All that gone, yo. Only thing left was like a mattress. One mattress. So what we did was like we'd take turns. Like Bob sleep on the mattress one night, and then I just put a bunch of towels together, and then I sleep on the towels, man. That's how bad. I'm telling you, that's how bad we want to make it. And the mattress was like, you know, it really wasn't, you know, I mean, it was what it was. But I was like, all right, if we make some money, because they was going to start paying us every month, I was like, you know, we'll figure it out from there. But for right now, we just got to wing it out, or stay at the studio and sleep on the couches there, right?
Yeah.
And we was so broke, I didn't want to tell my mom, man, because, you know, we was kids, man. I didn't want to tell my mom that. So what we did was, we can walk right down the street on the corner, and Burger King was right there, and they had 2 cheeseburgers for $1. Never forget, man. We had our jars of pennies and all that stuff, and then from friends we knew, you know, we'd be playing on. I'll be like, yeah, I know, man. Hey, man, you got $1? We stop at the gas station. Hey, man, let me get $1. I'm gonna get a Snicker real quick, man. You want something? But we play it all like we just asking for $1 to bring everybody else something. But in our mind, we was like, we need that to collect. So that's what we was doing, man. It was funny, man, right? So yeah, that's what we was doing. That's what we was eating. We was eating cheeseburgers every single day, because it was just like for like a month and a half, 2 cheeseburgers for $1, man, 56. So we was like, cool. So we did that, and I'll never forget, man. One time, we had a car too, and the tires was really bald. So we was real cautious when we went somewhere. So sometimes we just walked a lot. Never forget, we got in the car one time, and then Brian's first single, One Last Cry, came on.
Okay.
Like, who is this dude, man? Golly, right? So that's ironic, you know what I'm saying? If you skip up. Now Brian ended up becoming one of my best friends. So that's one thing. Now check this out. When Bob go play, he would drop me off at the studio, and I'm just at the studio, right? So oh boy, the SSL, John, the one that mixed a lot of, you know, I was telling Anita Baker on him. He was like, here you go, man. Slapped this big old book on the thing. I'm like, what's this? He said, you doing all the beats, and the mixes that you did, even in your mom's basement, man, sound good. You need to learn this SSL board. So he just basically just took me, you know, all the way through it, you know what I mean? And it was a few classes I had engineering, but that wasn't really even teaching me anything. Like, he would take me over there, and then it was nothing. So he taught me everything, man, like from where I was at right there, and what he knew, all old school tricks, man. I was like, wow. So he taught me. I got to a point after about 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, I was like a wizard at it, because I was just there all day, every day. Like Bob, either I spent the night there, or when Bob would come, and then we do a couple joints when he come from you know, playing. We go sleep for like an hour, 2 hours, get up, go right back over there, right? The same thing, man. And then I never forget this. This is another. I'm gonna piece it all together. Yeah. So we go over to John Sally had a studio, because he was playing with Detroit back then. This was his last year. It was like the beginning of the 90s, right? Yeah. And we go over there, and I see this dude, man, with this drum machine, man, because I had a rolling drum machine. And I'm like, the heck is that? I'm like, I'm going closer, man. And then when he looked around, he was like, oh, hey, how you doing, man? And it was Tony Rich. So John Sally had Tony signed. Wow. Tony had the MPC first. Well, the first person I saw with it was Mario Winans, but the next version, which is the MPC 2, I seen Tony with it. So I'm like, okay. I'm sitting there seeing this, and Teddy Riley gave Mario his first one when he did Change for Winans. A friend, all that. Remember he did all that? So he gifted Mario that the first MPC that came out, because Teddy was one of the first ones that like got the MPC popping, and he had that endorsement, and he gave it to him for his 15th or 16th birthday or something like that, right? So I'm seeing Tony though, man, like maybe a year later with the MPC 2. So I go back, I'm like, hey, yo, man. I said, man, come on, Mike, man. I need that, man. I said, my sound. I said, listen to how these dudes stuff sound. He said, yeah, but you making this rolling talk just like that. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, I got the beat patterns because I know what I'm doing. I studied that. But it ain't sounding like that. I think we got to go extra with the EQs and the compression and all that. He's like, all right, let me see what I can do, man. Day go by. I'm thinking he's going to do it the next day, right? Day go by, nothing. Day go by, a week, month. I'm like, all of a sudden, I came to the studio one day. It was sitting right there, plugged in, everything.
Mm.
I'm like, you kidding? That's when my whole life changed, dude.
Wow.
And I got that. When I got it, I was still cool, and we all talking. Me, Tony, Mario, we all had like this little clique. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we was sharing sounds and all that. Then we heard that Dallas's party. He ended up getting a partner, which is Randy Rand. I don't know who he is. Randy Rand that was in Jimmy Jam's camp.
Yeah.
Dallas was producer with him, and you know the story. He had a head-on collision with a semi, man, early in the morning, decapitated, man. So one of his boys was working in the other room. His name was Paul. So Paul came in and was like, "Yo, I've been hearing your stuff, man." He was like, and he told us the story, and he was saying he's and they had a group too. So he's like, "Man, I replaced Randy in the group." He was like, "Man, what about we do some demos, and then when I go to Atlanta, I'll just start showing everybody who you guys are and da 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 da." Right?
Nice.
The first trip, and he came back, he's like, "Dude, they going crazy over y'all. But look, we're gonna need to do some more up tempos because Atlanta scene right now is all like 808 mid to up. They dancing now and they ain't really doing slow joints." I'm like, Babyface, but me, I'm like, but Babyface is Babyface. That was when LaFace was there too.
Right.
Like, all right. Drove on some bullhead tires, man, all the way there, dude, praying we don't pop because we were spare. You know, man, we got there, New Year's Eve, I'll never forget, everybody celebrating. I mean, we just had lit in our pockets, man. So we ended up finding our way to Paul's, his hotel room. It's like, we got you, man. We get you in to this party that Dallas is doing. We good, right? We get over there, we walk up to the joint, and then the I never forget, man. He was like, the guy that was at the front. He was like, yeah, he said he had to listen. Yeah, he said, who y'all two little niggas, man? He was like, nah, we with him. He was like, nah. What's your name, man? He said, y'all not on the list, man. So y'all got to whatever. So then Paul was like, look, he said, come on, man. Make a long story short, dude. He did his session. We was in our, because we didn't have no gas. It wasn't no gas in the car. We sat in the car all the way just sitting in there for like 3, 4 in the morning because we didn't know anything about Atlanta, where to go, who, nothing, right? One thing lead to another. Finally, we seen the next day when he had this, it was the same thing. We would drop him off and just sit there. So I never forget, we was walking up to the thing. We was trying to see if the guy, the bodyguard guy, was still there, and Dallas was getting in his Range Rover. So we hurried up and ran over to him. We like, yo, Dallas, yo, man. Remember us from the Hat to the Back video, man? We said we we wasn't Tim and Bob back then. We just said our name. So he was like, nah, I don't remember, man. And then here come other dudes rushing out because Dallas was so big, dude. Dallas with nobody when he popped off with nobody on his level. Name a producer. That it was a moment there, man, that you couldn't even talk to him, man. You had to be jamming Lewis and facing him. But the up tempos, Dallas had it on lock. If you needed an up tempo, you came to Dallas. So, you know what I'm saying? So everybody, he just had this bodyguards and then his boys, man. You couldn't even get like no radius to him. It wasn't even going on. Like as soon as they find out, you was probably getting your ass whooped. Like, it was luckily that didn't happen to us, man. We was like, dude, he was like, I'll tell you what, man. He was like, come back tomorrow, bring y'all demos, man, and we're gonna see what's up.
Okay. Nice.
For real, serious. Like, all right. Come the next day because we didn't know that it was his birthday. And he had everybody over there, right? So Paul was like, this is y'all chance right here. He said, if y'all ain't never had a chance, this is it right here.
This is the chance.
Right? So we finally on the list, man. You know, we got Tim Kelley, we got Bob Robinson on the list. We walk in there, dude. We seen Arrested Development over here. TLC over here. Boyz II Men over here. Tevin Campbell over there. I don't know who was in there, man. Gerald Busby, like from Motown. You know what I mean? Everybody. We just like, hold on, man. So Bob was tripping, but see, I'm the one that was doing all the research and just like knew who the names was and on and on and on. So man, that's that producer. That's the dude that runs CBS Motown. So I knew him. So I'm just in like, oh my Lord, I can't believe this is going on, right? So here we go, man. Dallas didn't have the studio built out yet. So it was just like the A and the B room, and then he was working on the C and D room, right? Yeah. So his boy, Dave, What's up, Dave? If you watching too, man. Dave really helped us out, man. Dave was like, hey, yo, look, man. He was like, there's the system. He said, this is all we got right here. The system right here. The A and B rooms, that obviously is people in there. We would have y'all go in there, but y'all, what do y'all got? Y'all got, it was just cassettes and CDs, but it wasn't really burning CDs yet. It was just cassettes still. So we put the joints in, man. And I never forget, Dallas was like way down there, because the studio was long, dark, like really long before you get to the last door before you get out, right?
Yeah.
So Dallas like kind of down there, you know, for a ways. You know, we can see him, but you can't see his face because he had the hoodie on. So he's over there playing like checkers or something, man, with about like 6 girls around him. So you still couldn't see, right? So we, you know, we put in some joints, and we put in the joints that we did the demos with Paul, our boy Paul. Yeah. And everybody coming up to us was like, is that y'all?
Wow.
That's y'all, man? We like, that's dope, man. Homeboy from Arrested Development came up to us, hey, yo, man, that last one was crazy. We like, thanks, man. So then Dave was like, hey, y'all stop playing the mids. We need ups. We don't want to hear no slow songs. We was like, I'm like, wait, I got one tape that consecutive, like, you know what I mean? Because I had a bag of tapes, but I had to go through them and find one.
Yeah.
Put it in, and I made sure I did a beat that sounded like one of Dallas's beats. It sounded like What About Your Friends? Because that was one of my favorite songs that he ever did. To this day it is, right? Yeah. So I you know, that sample that's running up under there is that Sly and the Family Stone everybody was using. So I threw that under there. I knew this was like, I was like, people gonna know that at least if nothing else, that I know what I'm doing, and I'm hip to what's the samples everybody's using, the break beats and all that, right? Mm-hmm. Dude, I played 2 joints, and then when I got to that one that I'm telling you about that had the slide joint in there, I seen Dave and Dallas talking, but it was like out of a movie, dude. Dallas still had his hoodie on, so you couldn't see him. It was like, you know what I mean? You just see Dave. Hey, yo, Bob, Tim, yo, come in this room over here. So we was like, that's weird. Go to the room, and we just sitting in there, man. He didn't come in for about like at least 45 minutes to an hour. We just sitting in there. So now we start thinking like, maybe he didn't like our stuff, man. Okay, so all right, I can call my mom and get $10. You call your uncle. So now we thinking about how we can get some money to get back home now. Yeah. You know, either to Chi, Peoria, Detroit, somewhere, so we can get back. So we thinking about that. And then Dallas busted in and took his hoodie down. He's like, hey, yo, man. So a lot of people then came through here, man, since I, you know, been trying to work this out. Mm-hmm. There's nobody that came through that got the range that you guys have, man. Wow. So you guys are like mini Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. Now, mind you, that's all. I mean, somebody said Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis almost fell out. I mean, that's all I knew of them. And then obviously Babyface first album. That first album. Mm-hmm. Remember that first album Face did? Yeah,
crazy.
So I really listened to that writing he did, and then the writing that Jam and Lewis did, and then the production that all that, and Teddy obviously too. Yeah. So I'm like, wait a minute, he said Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis? So I'm still bugging on that this dude this high on this level saying that to me, right? So I'm like, God. So he's like, here's what I'm gonna do, man. He just went straight to it. He was like, I'm gonna get some. He said, this little room right here is not done yet. It's the C room, like right here. If you come out and go around, it's right here. So I'm gonna get some equipment. I'm gonna buy some equipment, and you guys come back tomorrow a little earlier in the day. So I'm gonna have it all set up for you guys. He was like, who do what, man? And they started asking that because he was like, do y'all need an engineer? I'm like, oh no, I engineer. He was like, you engineer too? I'm like, yeah. So how you like? Okay, that don't matter. We'll get to that. He said, okay, so you engineer. All right, cool. So I'm gonna have some people bring some stuff in, right? He walks out, so he walking out, and he didn't shut the door. So I'm thinking, like, wow, we ain't got nowhere to sleep, right? So I'm like, I jumped up and ran. I was like patting Dallas and everybody trying to get a piece of him. Come over here, Dallas. I said, Dallas. The music loud too, and he started walking this way. I'm like, I tried it again, man. I'm like, hey, D. I said, yo, man. He finally turned around. He's like, oh, what's up, man? I was like, we ain't got nowhere to stay, man. I said, we've been living out of our boys' joint, and obviously, if he want a young lady over there, we had to break out and go into the grocery store, Kroger's, and sleep in the car.
Oh man!
Like, so I said, so basically, we sleeping in the car, man. I was like, I didn't want to tell him that, you know, I wanted to prove to him, you know, what we were capable of. So I didn't want to be. can you put us in a hotel? But it was about to slip out my mouth, right? As soon as I said, so can you? He said, oh, I got some bean bags over there, man. Y'all can just sleep in here. So he was testing us, but what he didn't know, I was already sleeping in the studio in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, bean bags, this is like awesome, man. Like I was sleeping on a hard, like, you know, sofa like this, you know what I mean? And, like short. My legs is way over the, you know what I mean? I'm waking up, man. You know, the blood rushing to your legs. I'm like, can't even walk in the morning. I'm like, bean bags? Okay, cool, right? So we stayed until everybody left and all that. Now we on bean bags, man. Me and Bob was like, this is crazy right here, yo. We up in Dallas. Dang, this is great. So the engineers, so some engineers was walking around, right? And I never forget this engineer said this. He was like, yo, man, I was here and I heard y'all stuff. He said, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Dallas don't play around with them beats. Like, y'all beats is on, but if I was y'all, I'd put a little more bottom in them. So I just learned from Mike, which engineer, what, Anita Baker? Anita Baker ain't got no joints you in the club bumping to, you know what I'm saying? So I just knew how to make my low end according to how I was taught. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, all right. Okay, I think I can do it. But when she said that, it kind of shook me a little bit. I'm like, because I ain't, you know, never, I mean, I had the sounds, everything, but, you know, you just, Anita Baker's, you know, the mixes is really smooth, they clean, they kind of, it's almost like jazz, like, you know what I mean? If you listen to her music, she don't got nothing like this, she ain't got, you know, so I couldn't even sleep that night, man, because now I'm like, dang, man. That was the first time I was doubting myself just a little bit. I was like, can I? Come to find out, dude, you ain't ready for this, man. The way Mike from Detroit, the way he mixed, he would turn everything on the SSL. He would turn everything overall, the speakers, everything, turn it way down. So I never heard it blasting in there. It would be you would think studio, you hear it really, really loud. It wasn't loud. Because it was for when Anita came in there and for all the other artists that came in the A room, you know, obviously the Wyans too, they didn't have anything until Teddy came, but everything was just like jazz, smooth, you know what I mean? He was like showing me like, nah, it's too much bass, man, you don't do that, man. He always, every time I mess with the bass, because you know at SSL, if you go all the way down the channel strip, that knob right there is where the bass at. I would always mess with that. He's like, nah, Tim, no. Right? So, you know, so I'm thinking like, dang, the next day Dallas come in. Oh, we went in there the next day and looked in there. No, we got awakened to people. We hearing people talking and all that. And these guys coming from Guitar Center bringing all these boxes in, man. And Dallas held his bargain up, man. Like, he made the whole room all kinds of stuff in there, dude.
Wow.
Bass, every new keyboard that came, all that, dude. Make a long story short, only time we left that room was when we had to use the bathroom. We had people like that, engineers and runners, to go get you food. We stayed in there for about a month, dude. We came out, we had like 500 joints when we was done.
Wow.
500. And I never forget, I started getting better and better because Dallas was like, hey, Tim, come here, man. I'll never forget, he took me in the B room, which he was going to give us eventually if it all worked out. He's like, man, I want to play you something, man. Dude, he played, remember Tracy Spencer?
Yeah.
He played something from her, man. Hey, it was bumping so hard. I was like, I'm talking about, because the studio, the way it was built, it wasn't big. And he had these big 15-inch, 20-inch woofers, you know, Osbergers. And then he had like 3 woofers under there. And it wasn't really big. Like, you couldn't even fit, like, everybody had to be right up on the console, and you had to be like, excuse me, man, like to go. It was like, so the speakers, like, you almost, if you did this, if you could untach your other arm and go like this, you could touch the speaker.
Wow.
In there bumping, I'm talking about your whole chest feel like it's splitting. And I'm like, how he get this bumping like this, man? Like, God. In my mind, yo, I was like, hey, yo, that's dope. But in my mind, it scared the shit. I was like,
yeah.
So what I didn't know is, you know what I mean, what I was telling you before. So I go grab one of my joints, played it. It was bumping just as hard.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because that was that. Dallas stuff was woofered out, all this. So I'm like, okay, I'm okay, but I'm gonna take it to the next level. So I just kept working. And then at that time, it was like the Mecca, like Q-Tip was coming down. Buster, he was the first rapper producer that we met. He was showing us how he did his hip hop stuff, because he was just leaving the leaders of the new school, and he came straight to Dallas. He came straight to Atlanta and came in the dark. So at that, Diamond D, all them producers that I knew the hip hop was dope. Oh, even my man too from because they was working on one of their albums that Tip is in.
Okay.
What's the group? What we talking about? One of the greatest hip hop groups, Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
So the guy that we all thought that was the producer, Ali Shaheed.
Yeah.
So they just had a lot of albums, but come to find out, it was really Q-Tip doing all the beats.
Yeah.
So I would jump in and out of there, seeing what Q-Tip doing. He's like, "What up, man?" I'm just sitting there, the fly on the wall, man, just watching what he doing, looking at his EQ chain, seeing his engineers, and I just started learning from one thing to another. And then before you know it, the whole studio, man, like, "Hey, man, if you want your drums, man, you got to go to Tim and ask him, man." My drums ended up just I just had a chain that just, when you came in there, man, it'll knock you up. I was knocking your head off. They was like, "You got to turn it down, Tim." Even when I turn it down, you was going to hear it right here. I just developed that skill, you know what I mean? And I made sure of it. I don't know, I'm just a competitive dude, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to just show them that, like, nah, y'all ain't getting away with this, man. So it turned out like that. And then Dallas heard all our songs, by the way, and then we just started passing them out. First one was Perfect Gentleman, and we did another Bad Creation album because Dallas didn't want to do it.
Yep.
Then we did some other things that didn't make it. Then we did Get It Up from TLC. That was our first big hit. Yeah. We was driving to the mall, and then we heard it on the radio. We pulled over crying and everything. We was bugging out. That was like our first one on the radio. And then we didn't look back from there, man. We just took off. But I'm just telling you how weird things worked out is that it goes from, and then we ended up getting Tony, and we got Mario down and all that. So I'm saying it's ironic that a lot of stuff that was going on in Detroit, it was kind of like parallel, because it ended up with the same little crew we had. Yeah. And Detroit basically staying with us, when we eventually got a condo and we had enough room. Everybody was there with us, man, from Detroit. And then some of our boys from Chicago, Thomas. I'm just scatterbrained because it's a lot to tell, man. But Carl Thomas. We knew Carl. Carl from Rockford, because our church used to always go over there all the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we knew Big Jim, rest in peace. He was in there too. So we had Carl Thomas, and we was trying to get him signed. Then all that happened too. So everything we had over there, we just transferred, trying to get it. We were just trying to pull everybody in, man. I think that's why God, also blessed us, man, because we was like, man, there's too much talent in Detroit. We got to get our boy Dietrich Haddon. He's another one. He did all our demos in Detroit too. Like, Paul, like, because Dietrich was in high school. After high school, he runs straight to the studio. Him, Demita, his ex-wife, they did all our demos too. So then we got them, and then we ended up working and doing Dietrich's whole album. So it's ironic, man. You know what I mean? How that all worked out, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a crazy story. It's crazy just listening to this story, and it's just amazing you guys didn't give up throughout all of that. Sleeping on the floor, eating at Burger King every day. Like, was there ever a point you or Bob were like, man, this is crazy? Hell no, man. No. It wasn't even an option. We didn't even think of that. We was like, we just gonna get in here and get down, and then you know what I mean, and then live with the results. Either he gonna say we gonna get better or y'all gotta leave. You know what I mean? He didn't say neither one. He came in and was like, damn, man. Because, again, we had Bob and myself, man, and I thank God, but it was just the way Bob was raised. And I was playing in my dad's bands. I was playing drums when I was 8. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't. Sometimes they let me in the bar, sometimes not. But like I sneak from the back. You know what I mean? And they just throw me on the drums when I was 8. I knew they whole set. They was like Earth, Wind, and Fire, dude. Had like that many members in their group. So I knew what each person was doing because trumpet was my first instrument because my dad played it, and then I ended up playing bass guitar, so on and so forth. But drums was the first one, and trumpet. So I just knew who I got introduced to, like bands and funk and like at an early age. And then my uncle was a DJ in Milwaukee. He was one of the biggest ones. Then my other uncle, he would spend his cigarette money and beer money just to get a James Brown record. You know what I'm saying? So like I was exposed to all that at a young age, and I was really a curious kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I always look on the back of albums. So then my mom started, she already was collecting albums, but she found out that I really got into that. She started bringing in album after, I mean, they was just everywhere downstairs, dude. So I just always just kept reading and all that, man. And if it was internet,
yeah.
So I did it, I did it the School of Knocks, hard knock way, like looking and like, oh, okay, listening and like, oh, okay, I get it. And then Bob was playing in church before I met him, so we merged them together, man, and that was the sound, man. It wasn't nothing we could really do, you know, at the time. So yeah. I think Dallas was really intrigued by that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Any way you want it, however you want it. Then not to even mention, man, I went to a Catholic school, man, so I was the only black kid in the school. You know what I'm saying? And you had to get it, and thank God I was a good student. So I pretty much my whole all the way through grade school to, you know, had A's. You know what I mean? So you had to get, you know, your grade point had to be really high to get in this certain Catholic school that I went to. And my mom pulled me out. I was so mad, man. She pulled me out of public school after a semester. You mess with them girls too much. You're not concentrating. So I started playing basketball, but then I was in band too. So all that helped me out, man. Like, because I was listening to all the rock music with my friends. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The Eagles, Led Zeppelin, man. Like, you know what I mean? Kenny Loggins, like, all of that stuff. So I had that world, had the funk world, had the soul world, all that, like, all mixed in right here. You know what I mean? And then Bob had that gospel thing locked down, which I really wasn't into till he showed me commission. And that's when I was like, hey, okay. Yeah. And I got that in my repertoire, man. And then, you know.
Amazing.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm just looking at those plaques behind you right now. So much history there.
You see that black man? You see that man?
Man, like,
I can go down a little bit. I can go over here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about some of these plaques. I don't know. You have the Boyz II Men one, the 2 album. I gotta see that plaque.
That one right there.
That one is insane.
I'm behind, man. Yo, you know what? That's let me see. Let me look real quick. I'm behind on all my plaques. That's 12 million, man.
That's insane.
Worldwide, I think it's sold 40 million. So I'm off. And the TLC plaque too, that's off. That's like 25 worldwide. What? Monica up there, she sold 4 million. Destiny's Child back there, that's like 2 million. That Michael Jackson one is the one too. That one over there, you can't see it right now. I don't want to show you my messy situation over there, but
all good.
I got a Michael Jackson history plaque over there. I only got it at what? I'm looking now at 9. That's at like 35, 40 million. That's one.
Crazy.
You don't even realize they thinking it's Thriller and all that. That one as big as anything that he's ever did. The history album.
But
yeah, so messed around on that, and you know, on and on. I'm behind, man, but you know, we'll get
I want to talk.
So busy with the music.
I want to get into this Boyz II Men 2 album because, I mean, Bob's told me the story about how you guys went to California. There's an earthquake going on at that time. That's crazy. But when I look at this track list, right, you have Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. You have Babyface. You have Troy Taylor, who's a monster.
Yeah.
You have L.A. Reid. And then we have Dallas Austin. And then we have Tim and Bob, I think the newest in that batch. And your work on there, amazing.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man. You know what, dude? We had to do, at least, no lie, we had to do like 100 songs to get 5 on there. Yeah. And I told Bob, I mean, you know what? I played point guard in school. So, you know, when you're a point guard, it's like you got to know where everything at. You're thinking different, you know, man. Then I was really competitive. I hated to lose in checkers. Checkers is an Uno game, dude. I was a sore loser. But you wouldn't know it. It's just be boiling inside me like, damn, if I would have, you know what I mean? I'd be in my mind like figuring out, rewinding like, if I did this move with it. So I've always been like that, man. So I told Bob, I said, Bob, look, when we got the chance, he didn't tell the front beginning of it. It was really weird how at the beginning, man. But Dallas wanted to do it, and he said he wanted $1 million. Make a long story short, he wanted $1 million. Well, I ain't doing it because the first album did so well that he did. They was like, hell no. Nah. Meantime, we was working on another bad creation, and Wanye came down to do the backgrounds. We met Wanye, sat at the piano with him. He was like, dang, both of y'all fluid like that and playing guitar? We was like, yeah, man. I mean, we do this, man. We ain't just no dudes that just signed with Dallas, you know what I'm saying? So he said, man, hey, man, look, we working on our album right now. We was like, for real? I said, yeah, man, I already got the logo, everything, man. He had the logo, like, I think 2 years before the album even came out. That two, you know, it was a two and then a little. So Wanye was the one that came up with that. I never forget, we did our first song we did together because Bob was in the other room. This is when we was at another studio. So we was able to kind of sneak and like kind of mess around because, you know, a lot of the representatives from Motown was coming in to hear what we was doing on Another Bad Creation. Not messing with stuff for Boyz II Men. They already had their ideas for that one. Babyface, Jam and Lewis. Matter of fact, it wasn't Jam and Lewis. It's Babyface because obviously End of the Road. That was like when they was coming off the end of that album. That just was like what? Beat the Beatles. They're like, oh, Babyface got to do half at least, right? So I'm telling Bob, I said, Bob, you know what? I never forget the night that when you told, I said, dude, we're going to do how we did when we first started. So we're going to go and do 100. Wow. And then wherever they go, we're going to have to tell them, can they put us in a studio? I don't care if it was just like a hole in the wall. So what happened is we did 3 joints. We did this is a song called Trying to Let You Go. I'm gonna send it to you, man. You're gonna be like, all right. You're gonna see which song, why it's not on there. Because it sounds like this one song. I'll get to that in a minute. It's parallel to that. So then we did Can I Touch You? That's what I was telling you that Shawn came down and Nate did something on Another Bad Creation. They walked in with Juan, heard us doing the song. Shawn jumps on that, right? And then we had a couple more that didn't make it. But anyway, to make a long story, what I'm talking about is like, Wanye was like, hey man, y'all want to just jump in the band with us, man? Like, you know what I mean? We was like, what? For real? We was like, then we got to thinking, we was like, okay, how this gonna work? Because now we really wrote, it was really popping off. Now, like Dallas was having a whole bunch of projects come in, and me and Bob would just come in and eat it all. Dallas will do one, and we just come in and eat it all up. We do like 5 on there. Yeah. Next one come in. Dallas do 2, we do 7. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't that he couldn't do it. He just knew how fast we were. And he was like, oh, go ahead, man. I'm getting half anyway. It's cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I probably did the same thing. They sound like me. They can mimic me and mimic Jam and Lewis and Babyface. Like, I'm going to let them go ahead. So we just kept doing that. So we was like, how are we going to pull this off? Right? So I never forget our business manager was like, look, don't say nothing. We was at the studio, right? I forgot who we was working, Chinese or somebody. Like, look, he said, look, I just worked something out. Because remember, Dallas didn't want to do the Boyz II Men album. Yeah. I just worked it out with Juro that you guys just give it a shot. And then Wanye was vouching for us. We did so many joints with him because he was down there doing the backgrounds with Another Bad Creation, if you could put it all together. Yeah. So Wanye went and told Wanye and told the label Motown and Juro, and then our businessman worked it out. He said, look, y'all slowly just leave out. There's a limo out there in the front. Jump in a limo, go straight to the airport. He's like, huh? Said, because you're going to go straight to Philly. Wanye's going to pick you guys up. Wow. We already got the hotels ready for you guys and everything. That's how the first beginning started right there. We were so scared, man, because we thought, our allegiance was to Dallas, man. Now we like, I'm thinking like, I hope man, dang. Because I'm like, what if both of them don't work out? We don't get nothing on Boyz II Men, and then Dallas tell us to get the hell out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we took the chance though, man. And then finally, like a week later, we told Dallas, was like, yo, man, we in Philly, man. It was like, what y'all doing in Philly? And, man, we just doing demos for Boyz II Men, man. He was like, all right, keep going, man. Just hit me up. And he hung up. I was
Oh man.
like, shit, man. There we go, man.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because, you know, it just eventually just snowballed and snowballed. And we went on tour. We was going all over everywhere, man. And we was just doing joints after joint after joint. And we ended up with 5 joints on there, man.
Wow.
And here's what's crazy, man. One more thing. And then we
Yeah.
can go on. But this is a funny thing. So the album was doing so crazy. It was selling like, we didn't know, but I can tell you now, but we didn't know. It because we came home. Dallas told us to come back home because he wanted us to work on something else. And then we was gonna jump back on the road with Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
But Dallas, we were doing a project, I'll never forget. And he told us to come. He was like, hey, yo, he got on the intercom, you know, everybody can hear it in the studio. Tim and Bob, we need you, you know what I mean, need y'all in the such and such room. We like, oh man. Because, you know, you just didn't know with Dallas, because one day he would talk to you and sit down and really talk to you. And then one day he got a lot on his mind because he was the first one with the clothing line, the label, the studio. You know how like with Puffy and Jay-Z and all them. He was them at 18, man. 18 years old or 19 or something like that. He was all in. Like he did all that, man. So he had so much stuff coming at him, you know, 3 label deals. He had, I mean, you couldn't believe, I mean, it's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
That's what helped me out too, to see like, okay, I get when I want to be like that one day, you know what I mean? So anyway, right, we sitting down and he's got this serious look, man. And when he got that serious look, he'd be like just sitting there, right? So he had the accountant was in there. So we come and sit down, we like, what's going on, man? What is this, right? So he go, proud of y'all. I mean, y'all really been working hard. You know, this low, talking this low. Like, really proud of y'all, man. You know what I mean? And then let me see if I can find something. You know, it's crazy. So, you know what I mean? You know, here, Tim. Here, Bob. That's for y'all, man. So I'm thinking, I'm like, is this a severance package? What's going on?
Oh man.
What happened here? I open it up, dude. We open it up. Now, this is after 2 months of the album coming out. Mind you, this don't work like that. You don't get royalties, nothing like that until everybody, the label got to be paid, all that. Royalties come way later. But they were selling so much that they recouped so fast within like a half of a month or a month. You know what I'm saying? That now all the producers about to see bread. You know what I mean? About your publishing, your writers, all that. Dude, I open it up, I'm looking. I'm going 1, comma. Mind you, I wear glasses too. 1, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma. No way. Then he start butts. So then they both start laughing. They said, congratulations, everybody coming in, balloons, all that, man. That was my first check. Me and Bob's first check.
Wow.
And we saw $1 million on it.
Wow.
Like back then, we were like, and I never knew how I didn't know that part. We didn't know that part because we was too busy with blinders on, just rocking.
Just working.
That was selling $1 million, $2 million a month. The album was. Then 2 days later, a writer's check come in for around somewhere around there. We like, this is like, what? So TLC on and on and on and on and on and on. That's how our numbers are so ballooned. Because in the 90s, if you went platinum, that was like, you was almost probably going to get dropped from the label. Like, especially gold. If you ain't gold on your first album,
you're done.
You probably wasn't even going to get a second chance. If you did, you better make sure. Just go back and think. TLC, Boyz II Men, Silk, SWV, on and all of them. They in the 90s, 5 million here, 4 million here, 12 million. So like, to see how what it's doing now, you're just like,
wow.
I'm gonna get back to that, man. It's crazy. No. But it's cool, you know what I mean? It's still ways to do it. You just gotta manage the budgets, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you can still make it work. And I just figured it out as I went along. And you know, I'm here.
That's insane, man.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You read into that. I'm here, man. I'm still here doing it. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean?
That's crazy. Tim, do you have the Monica plaque back there?
Yep. Let me see. Up at the top, you see it?
Yeah, I see that. Because I gotta
Again,
talk about. I want to talk about the record
I'm
you.
outdated, man. That's what, 2 million? I think she had 3 million on that one.
I think she's at 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the record with you, that is like, that's top tier Monica stuff. And she was so young at that time. Like, talk about putting that song together.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Just real quick, man. You know what? I think Bob was saying something about it last. So he was like, man, it's crazy. Nobody was doing what Tim was doing back then. He was sampling slow joints in slow joints. You know what I'm saying? So me, I got so obsessed with like cutting up samples and messing around and all that. So one day I was like, I didn't want to play it because I used to play guitar straight into the MPC because it gave it just raw sound, and then you could chop it up obviously too because it was in an MPC.
Yeah.
But one day I just found this little lick, man, and I was like, dang, that's crazy. So I just took that little lick, and then some of the strings I was on the back end of a record that I had, and then me and Bob just played around it with the guitars, and then I just made the melody. I EQ'd the melody so it can be real loud. I just EQ'd, messing with it. You know what I mean? Put a little delay on it, whatever, right? And then I was using 808 drums back then, so I just put an 808 beat on it. And then when we were doing the track and we just had the actual what the hook part is, Dallas walked in and was like, "The hell is this, man?" And I was like, I don't know, I was messing around with something at the house, you know, because I had all my albums at the house. I never brought them to the studio because you never knew who was coming in because Dallas was so hot, everybody was coming in.
Right.
So I would sample at the house and then go to the studio, you know what I'm saying? Or I bring just a few in a backpack or whatever. But I did that at the house. Then we added more and more on it. He like, hold on, man. Now we're doing Monica's album, right?
Yeah.
Today, man. So y'all got a hook for it? We like, yeah. I mean, man, I think this could be for Monica, man. And that's what he said. And we was like, okay. So Deborah Killings, I don't know, you remember Deborah? You heard of Deborah? She did all our demos whenever we need. Man, she could do anything. Like if you needed female, male, she did it all. Backgrounds. And then when we got with her, we really started throwing in sevenths and ninths and all that stuff when she started to hear it and all that. So we just had her. We called her. We was like, "Hey, yo, Dad, we need you here real quick." So we did the hook, and then when we did the hook, it was sounding so dope. The way her and Monica's voices blended, because I think that was the first one we didn't use just Monica on the background. You know what I'm saying? So when we blended them together, we was like, wow, okay. So Dallas comes in. He's like, okay, man, I'm not coming in no more. I want to wait till it's done. I'll wait till it's done. He's like, all right. So we went on and wrote it real quick. Monica's one take Jake, man. She just we you know, we just developed her like that. She to the point where she could just come in and she knew what we wanted with her character, or if she overdid something, or we would tell her whatever. Me and Bob was like the first ones that worked with her because when they decided they wanted to sign her, she was only 12.
Oh,
so
wow.
We did a joint called look it up on YouTube. It's called In Time. Because that's on her album, on the Japan version, the Asian version. Man, that joint, man, that was gonna be the single at first. And I didn't even know I didn't even know that it was put on there until I looked on Wikipedia one day. I was just going through stuff and I seen it said bonus Japanese track or Asian, whatever. It said In Time. I'm like, huh? Where did I get it? I'm looking on eBay, man. What? Since I saw that like 3 years ago, I've been looking on eBay for like, where's the Japanese version, man? So what I did, I just downloaded from YouTube. It's all scratchy sounding and all, but at least it's a joint that it's on there because my dad really loved it. And he passed away like 4 years ago, so that was one of the joints that he really liked. So that's why I was like, by any means, I got to get it because my dad liked it. You know what I mean? So that's the story behind that, man. It just was really one of those ones where we did the track, didn't know what was going on. Just like Jon B, how we did They Don't Know. We did the track on site, and we just went for it. So we do that. We did that a lot. We weren't the conventional producers where they walk in and then they already got the song ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of producers, I probably it's like 80% producers do that, because they'll do the track and they'll send it off to the writer and then an arranger and then this person and then, you know what? And then they just have the artist just be a man, you know what I mean, a robot, do it just like this. You know what I'm saying? So we never was really like that.
Yeah.
We would wait and talk to them a little bit, see what they're going through, because we knew if we write something that they were going through or like they can relate to or they heard it from their friend's story or whatever, then it's a better chance that it can stick because it would mean something to them. You know what I mean? And they felt that they was part of the process, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's written, all that. Hey, remember here, take this, go back to your hotel room, memorize this, come back, and then let's go. You know?
Yeah. No.
We wouldn't like that. We did it right on the spot.
Yeah.
Bam, 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 bam. Then like, can you keep going? We're at the fourth joint. Yeah. Or they'd be like, nah, my voice too. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, we'll just start over the next day. That's how we were, man, because I just want to turn them over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, it's just like throwing darts at a dartboard. If you got 10, the more darts you get, the more chances you got that's going to hit that bullseye. That's how I thought. So I'm like, let's just do a game. And then, you know, after that, we got something that we can show somebody, or we'll do a compilation album later or whatever. But we would have like 10 joints on everybody. That's how right now I can press play on like Mary J. I got 10 from her, 5 from Faith. This 20 from 30 from Boyz II Men, and you know 10 from TLC, on and on, man. Like that's how we work, man. And I keep that to this day. You know, I just do the tracks. I rarely do the demos. Every now and then I do now because it's a different. Obviously, it didn't turn into a little different situation, but because everybody found out what publishing is, so you know what I'm saying. So that's how it is. It's my baby, Jon B. What up, Jon? My baby right there. What's up, girl?
I mean, you're talking about all these great artists. We gotta talk about 112. Do you have that 112 plaque back there?
Let's see. I got several of those, man. Let's see if you can see one. That's one of them. We got again, I'm off deck, but this is one of them right here. You see it right there?
Classic.
From the Monica right there.
Yeah, classic right there.
Album was that part 3 or part something? Yeah,
part 3.
That was the third album.
Yeah.
And then I got all the other ones over there. But yeah, that album meant a lot, man.
Yeah, because
the first one too, man. I mean, either one of them, right? All of them. But that first one,
crazy.
That was so fun, man. I got a story, man. It probably would take 10 minutes, man. I don't even know how I can even shorten it, man. But it was crazy how that happened, man. It really is. And I don't think nobody really told the real story, man. You know what I'm saying? But do we got time?
Yeah, we have all the time.
We got time?
We got time.
I'm going to try to make it quick. I'm trying to make it really quick, all right? So, obviously, 112, let's keep it real. I'm just going to tell everybody out there, 112 is our group.
Yeah.
Because from our barber, after we did Boyz II Men album, Dallas was like, y'all need to find another group, man. You know what I'm saying? Some groups, man. Like, now people paying attention to y'all. Y'all need your own artists. And when you break an artist, that's when you become a super producer. You're like, at the labels, quote unquote, they'll call you like super producers, not just good producers. When you break an artist, you know what I'm saying? That's what that, you know, the relation to that. So we had our barber, man. He would come over and cut our hair, man. And he was living in College Park, where everything was like, everybody came from Monica, Escape, Jermaine. I think Dallas even lived there at one point, man. On and on, man. Like everybody came from there, man. So we just talking to him. He's like, hey, man, do you know some singers, man? We know everybody come from there. He's like, huh? Man, I know so many singers, man. He said, I can line them up, man. So you know who was the first one we was going to sign was Wingo.
Oh, wow. Yep.
He started, we started doing an album with him. And then Dallas walked in and was like, what's going on, man? I'm talking about groups, man. So it was like, we're just checking him out. We're going to put him in a group. So, okay, all right. He walked out, right? So he just kept bringing us cats, man. Our barber did, man. Make a long story short, he had everybody except for, I don't think Duran wasn't Duran. Okay. So I think Wingo, even though they kind of was messing around in high school and all that, they wouldn't really like 112. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They actually the group, they was Forte.
Forte, yep.
Our barber named them that, right? So he goes, here, I think I got. He said, man, I'm bringing the guys back that y'all took that y'all said y'all like. So we listening to him. We was like, okay, all right. Well, we're gonna do some demos or whatever. Then like 2 days later, all of a sudden Deron came and Wingo wasn't there. He's like, no, I think this is it right here.
Yeah.
And we were in the B room. I never forget. So they started singing, man. We was like, whoa, yo, this is crazy. So we were working on Destiny's Child, which was called The Dolls back then, which Duro found.
Yeah.
And we was working on them, right? So I'm finna put them together, right? So the only engineer, A&R that we was really, really cool with was Randy Jackson from American Idol.
Yeah.
He was head of A&R at Columbia at the time. So we did a whole bunch of artists for him, and we just got cool with him, man. He even was telling us like, hey, man, y'all want to get on Nas? I remember Nas' first album. He asked us to get on that. Maxwell, his first album. But we turned stuff in, but, you know, it just, they had their own producers, and, you know what I mean? How we going to compete with Pete Rock? He already knew him real good. Seeing him, you know what I mean? So, whatever. So, but anyway, so, right? So we do 112, and we're working on the Dolls at the same time. I never forget Duro's deal he had with Sylvia Rome. They got into this big situation, and then Duro was like, "Forget it. I don't even want the deal. Drop the deal." Right? So Beyonce's dad 2 days later hit me and Bob with crying tears, dude. No lies. He was like, hey, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, man. He's like, y'all got to help, man. He's like, well, what? He's like, I quit my job, man. And like, you know, the family is in turmoil. I don't know what's going to happen, man, because I spent all my money on getting the girls right. He said, can you see if Dallas want to sign him? We was like, okay, cool. Because Dallas was tripping on Beyonce, how she could sing like that, because we was working in Bobby Brown's studio at the time.
Yeah.
And then we was working back and forth. Like if we would let people go in our B room, we would go to another studio. So Bobby was letting us use his studio, which that's how we ended up getting on his album. But we're going to clean that all up. So, right? So we go to the studio. I'm like, hey, Dallas, remember them little girls I was running around here, man, with the chaperones and their moms and all that? And that one girl that can really, really sing, they got dropped. And their dad that's managing them, he asked us, would you want to sign? And he's like, let me hear the songs again, man. So we go in the room, we listen to the joints. He's like, after 3, he was like, okay, stop. So obviously what y'all do is crazy. He was like, but I only hear one girl. We was like, man, all the rest of them was kind of scared to get in there because I think they were so intimidated by Beyonce because she was like, singing like she is almost to this day at 13, yo.
Wow.
For real. Chops like that. So they were so scared. Like we would call the next one and be like, I don't want to say no names, but you know the group. We'd be like, all right, get in the booth. Shoot, I ain't getting in the booth. Let Beyonce do it. Next song. Beyonce got it. She ain't there anyway. They were doing that. So she just had it, man, like that. So Dallas was like, so we telling him that, and we was like, but we can try it. He was like, no, no need to try it, man, because that ain't gonna work, man. Just 4 girls and one. We was like, yeah, the Diana Ross and the, Supreme, they doing it. Diana Ross was like, really, if you think about it, if you go back on all them records, she was leading, singing all them joints. Yeah. So we kept telling him, we were saying, we going back and forth. He was like, I want to do it. I'm not gonna do it. I don't think it's gonna work. He was like,
oh man.
So we go back to to the dad, and we like, hey, yo, man, he don't think it's gonna work. He was like, what? We was like, but we got one other thing. Hold on. So meanwhile, while I'm telling you this, days going by and all that. So now we got records on Forte. Now we got 5 records on them.
Yeah.
And what we already did half or like 6 on Destiny's Child, which was the girls. We sent it up. We told Randy about it. Send it. Go ahead and send it. We send it off. 2-3 days later, he called back. He's like, yo, man, this little female group, man, they got something, man. I was like, oh, no, that's why we sent it to you. We was like, but what about the guys, man? What you think? So we was like, okay, sign both, one or the other. It don't matter. We'll figure it all out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about the guys yet, man. I'm looking at
Oh.
the picture because the guy, you know, they were a couple of them was church boys. They coming straight from church to the studio. They got
Mhm.
suspenders on, man, and like church gear. You know what I mean? Like it just wasn't looking like, you know, fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we didn't have any professional pictures. We just take a picture of them and sent the tape. He's like, the guys, they're not quite looking. I don't know. I'm like, dude, don't let your eyes deceive you, man. Listen to it. He said, you know how it go, man. It's got to match. And he's like, we get it, man. But the girls, though, when can you get them here so we can do, you know, a little exclusive thing for the label so they can hear them? Dude, we do that, and all of a sudden, before you know it, they lock the doors, and it was like, okay, how are we gonna do this? So people don't tell that story, man. Like we was way involved with that, man. Like in getting Destiny's Child signed. You know what I'm saying? And they wasn't even Destiny's Child at first. I guess Beyonce and her mom was looking through the Bible one day, I think, and then they ended up putting together the Destiny's Child. But they were called the Dolls, man. Like,
wow.
And then it just popped off, man. And we were so busy. We could have did the whole album, but we were so busy that we started doing other stuff. And you know how it is. It's like rolling the dice when you got we was so hot back then. We were working on 6 artists at one time, dude. Like, seriously, we were. And you rolling the dice in your mind, you're like, who you think is gonna blow? So, man, dude, man, I can honestly say that's one mistake Bob and myself is doing that whole first album. Because then it'll been a whole different thing. It'll been like, oh, Tim and Bob, Destiny's Child. Oh, that's it. See, it don't look like that now because when it first came out, no. And Wyclef remixed it. And Wyclef, they was the biggest group on Columbia. It was gonna look like it's his group. So we got asked out. You know what I'm saying? And we was the ones that helped put it together. You know what I'm saying? It was like, dang, man. But we didn't really know they was gonna do that, man. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? No, blew up. Beyonce growing into her own, man, like a 13-year-old, 35, 40-year-old lady singing like that. And then they just took off. So we like, we was like, we still got 112, right? So this is how this happened. So we come back. I remember we was doing a remix for Boyz II Men or something like that. Dallas was like, hey, yo, I need y'all back here. Same thing how he used to do, get back. But he didn't tell us what's going on. He was like, hey, yo, man, guess who 112 signed? Well, Forte. So I guess it's Forte signed you now. We was like, who? It's like, y'all boy, man. And we like, who? You're like, Puffy.
Oh.
We're like, huh? How'd that happen? He just signed in hip hop. And every time I remember when Puffy had just got he was with Uptown, and then when old boy fired him, he started coming to Atlanta a lot too. So we would, man, me and Bob would follow each other out to the airport just to give him this Hummer that Bob was the only one that had this Hummer that he loved. So when he came to do business in Atlanta, we let him get our Hummer, and then we give him a key to the crib. Be like, okay, if you want to, we got rooms downstairs too. So we was that tight, and all of a sudden, our group, they was on Bad Boy. So we like, and we was so bummed out, man. So check this out, though. They end up so we had like about 50 joints on them by now. Go and do the whole record. And Clive said, they had everybody, Albie Shore, Joe, Devontae, I mean, everybody, man. Puff turns it in, and Clive said, nope, I want them sounding like that. Said, who was that right there? And then Puff was like, that was Tim and Bob. So Puffy telling us this now when we get there, but at first we didn't know the backstory. So he's like, you got to get Tim and Bob. You got to get Tim and Bob back. Now, this is after Monica. I think we did Deborah Cox, all that. So we were about to do a deal with Clive too, but we had a sub label under Dark. You know what I'm saying? So we were still all affiliated, all talking, all everything, right? I'll never forget, dude. We were driving home 4 in the morning from the studio, man, and I had a phone. I just put a phone in my the Land Cruiser. Remember those? I just bought a Land Cruiser. I just put a phone in there, and the phone rung, man. I'm like, huh? I just put it in today. Nobody know how to get the number. Pick it up, man. So the phone like, hello, and it was Puffy. Puff was like, yo, man, what up, man? So he got that puppy sounding voice, right? He was like, yo, man, I'm sitting with this chick right here, man, and we just going through these records, man, and I'm like, I need these. I need one. I need the group. They're not sounding like the group. Everything I'm getting, it sounds dope, but it's not sounding like the group. I said, hey, man, would y'all be interested? He said, I know how it all went down, whatever, man. He said, man, can y'all just, he said, but it's about them, man. They still live in the hood. So we all straight, you know what I'm saying? But they still living in the hood and so on and so forth, and this and this and that. And they just still trying to make it, man. Y'all are the key, man, because y'all the one that put them together, and y'all know who do what the best. He was like, would y'all be interested in coming to New York? We was like, I mean, we would, but I don't know if Dallas would, because Dallas knew the story too, how it all happened. You know what I mean? I don't want to throw a lot of names in because it'll get all mixed up. But anyway, so we go to the studio the next day. We tell Dallas, we said, Dallas, hey, yo, man, Puff want us to come to New York. And that was when Dallas's big brother was living there. His name was Squirt. So he was like, it was like Dallas and him making the decisions. You know what I'm saying? So we tell them, and they was like, hell no, y'all ain't going back there, man. So we was like, okay. So we wasn't really tripping because we was still mad at them too that they did that. And then we had all these other artists that you know, now that DARPA signed, and all these other artists from all over now. You know, Capitol, Motown, Electra, they bringing everybody coming to us now. So we like, we ain't tripping, we still finna do our thing. All of a sudden, Puffy called the studio, man, one day. It was like a week later or something like that. And it was like, so Dallas came in the room. He was like, hey, man, I got Puff on the phone. Y'all feel like talking, man? He was like, yeah. He said, okay. We went to another room where it was just us. So now we all in there. And K Wells, you know K Wells?
Yep.
Kevin Wells? Okay, so Kevin, he started managing them then, right? So now we all in the room. And then everybody hollered at the top of their lungs. I mean, we couldn't hear nothing. Everybody cussing each other out, all that. Hung up. Click. Dallas said, man, I don't even feel like it, man. Excuse me, Kev. Moving the door. Dallas walked out. And in my mind, I'm like, Dallas, man, we asked you to sign them. You said you didn't like him. You said they corny, man. Like, in my mind. But I was like, that happens sometimes because we did that. So I didn't know that part of it until a little later, too. Because we still in our, second year, third year at Dark. So we didn't really know the full gamut of the game yet. How you're going to miss some, you're going to sign some, you're going to wish you signed this, you're going to wish that you didn't sign that. You're going to, you know, we didn't go through all that yet. Dallas comes back in the room, and he's like, hey, Kev, man, get him back on the phone. I guess he went and did some thinking. He said, get him back on the phone, man. So we talking, man, on and on and on. Puff said what he had to say. Kevin said what he had to say. Me and Bob, we just quiet because they were so much bigger than we were. Puff, Dallas, and Kevin too, because Kevin had put together another bad creation. So we just letting them talk the business talk. We wasn't even saying nothing. That had to point to the end. It was like, so what y'all think, Tim and Bob? We was like, oh yeah, whatever. Because we wasn't even listening because we're like, our say so was like, we'll do it. You know what I mean? Because they still was all like our little kids because we like really raised them, man. You know what I mean? Deron, he didn't even know how to. When we met Deron, I think he only knew like 2 chords, man. You know what I mean? And then on and on and on. The guys didn't know. They didn't know what to do. All right, so now skip up. We go outside. Squirt was out there, and that was Dallas's big brother. He was like, "Hey, yo, man." I told Dallas like, "Hey, yo, man. You know what? Tim and Bob put some hard work into those guys, man. Let them go and finish this out, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about me, you. You know what I'm saying? It's about us still growing Tim and Bob because we were still under Dallas signed to him. He was like, it's about us growing them. You said they need some artists. And Clyde, which back then he was the biggest because he was signing all them deals, man. Dallas's deal, The Face, now Puffy's deal. That was the 3 biggest sub labels of you know what I mean? So he popping. So he's like, they're with Clyde. They're still going to be involved with Clyde. And when they come away from this, they're going to be able to, you know, fly off and get with Clyde now and do things. Let that go ahead and move, man. And that's how that all came about, man.
Wow.
Yo, are you ready for this? Something just came to me when I was thinking about
it. All right. Yep.
You're not going to believe this, but you ask Bob or anybody else, or ask him and he'll tell you. ask Pharrell. I'll never forget when we was working on 112, we come in the studio and we hearing this weird sounding music, man. We was like, what the hell is that? And it was in that D room. It was in the C. It was a C room. It's a C room where Dallas put us at from the beginning. Remember I was telling you when he first signed us, he had it. So we hearing it bumping, and they had the door open so whoever was going through could actually hear the music. And it was Joe. He was singing a song. It was like R&B funk, Earth, Wind and Fire harmonies going. He was like, it sounded like Joe. So we wanted to work with Joe. No, I think we already worked with him on the first album.
Okay.
So Beautiful, all that stuff, that album right there.
Yeah.
Nothing Like Me, or I can't remember, man. That album did good too for a minute. But anyway, we go in the studio. It was on my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, man, who was that? I go back there, man, and I saw Pharrell and your man, you know what I mean? They were really, he's a little bit younger than me and Bob. And I peeked in and I was like, hey, yo, man, that's sounding really, really good, man. And it was like, thanks, man. So then I walked away. So there it was a water fountain right there before you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then here come Pharrell out real quick. He was like, hey, man, because we was in the Vibe magazine of the up and coming producers. He was like, are you Bob or Tim, man? And I'm like, how you know that, man? He said, cause I saw y'all in the Vibe magazine, man. I was like, oh, okay, I'm Tim. And he was like, hey, yo, man, I'd love it, man, if y'all listen to some of the music, man. Just see what we got. So I go. I said, all right, I'll be right back. Go and get Bob. They showed us 5, man. We was just like, okay, these dudes are some different. They go to some weird stuff that don't even supposed to match. They making it match with the words. I'm like, they can be different. We can have them signed over here under us, right?
Wow.
So Dallas was in his bed. He had a bedroom in the studio in between A and the B room. We go in there with Dallas. We said, hey, yo, D, it's these 2 little dudes, man, that we got that was in that little C room. I said, hey, man, they played us like 5 or 6 joints. Yo, man, you got to come hear this stuff, man. He was like, all right, I'll be there in a minute, right? So he was already talking on the phone as it was. So when Dallas said he'd be here in a minute, he got to get all prepared, you know what I mean? Like, so he can hear, right? You know. So it's crazy, man. He comes back, and I said, hey, yo, play the first one y'all played is the one y'all was with Joe. That the one with Joe. And so Pharrell was like, all right, okay. So he plays that one. Everybody in bobbing their head, man, right? Dallas is just sitting there, just looking at his phone. You know what I mean? Then they go to the next one. He's like, when he do that, we already, because we've been around him now long enough. When he do that, he ain't coming back. He didn't like him. So then they still playing like another one. Then Pharrell turned the music down. He's like, did he like us? He's like, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know, man. But we was like, I'll tell you what, though. We're going to be in New York, because they told us they was from Virginia. We was like, we're going to be in New York in another 2 weeks. If y'all can make it to New York, I said, Diddy, Puffy. I said, y'all know a dude named Puffy that got the Craig Mack and all that? And I was like, yeah. Like, y'all can make it there in 2 weeks at where was it at? Where was we at? I don't think we was at Daddy's house yet. We was at a Battery or some studio where we can walk to it. So we said, y'all meet us there first, and we'll keep in contact. And when y'all get there, y'all call us. We was like, all right, cool. So we didn't even tell Puff or nothing, right? Now, this is how it happened simultaneously. That was crazy, because they worked it out so we can get to New York, and then we met Pharrell and them, and we didn't even know they was the Neptunes. We met them. Yeah. So now we're working on Come See Me. Remember the song Come See Me? We working on that. And here they come in the room, because the receptionist told us they was coming up. They come up. They sitting in the back. So Puffy just, we all bobbing our head, man. Can't, everybody's smoking, can't see. It's just smoky, can't see nothing. You know what I mean? We just like bobbing our head. So then I said, Puff, take these 2 dudes. And then, no, we was at, now I remember, we was at Daddy's house, his studio. I said, take these little dudes and go to another room and listen to their music, man. I said, you're going to bug out, man. I'm telling you, these some little talented dudes, man, right? Yeah. So he's like, okay, I'll do it in a minute. So we just bobbing our heads, whatever. Because back then we was basically like part of Bad Boy, because, I mean, we was doing everything now. Carl was from, you know what I mean, our parts of the way. Mario, you know what I'm saying? 12. So basically, we bringing all the R&B now. So he go in another room. So now Pharrell comes back. Nah, you can get on your knees. You can do this. So Pharrell's on the ground doing that. We was like, what? He was like, yo, Puff like 3 of our joints, man. 3.
Wow.
It was like, for real? He was like, yeah, man, he like 3 of them, man. And that's rare, man. Puffy he'll next you in a minute. You
Yeah.
can play like 30 seconds of it, he'd be like, next, next,
Oh man.
next. Oh yeah, he used to kill that. Ask anybody that was he make a long story short, that why are you over here looking at me?
Yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
was one of the tracks that they was playing for Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas was like, what is this? So that made it on Mace's album. That was
Yeah.
their first placement, man.
Yeah.
So then, after that, then they did one on Total, right?
Yeah.
No, they did 2 on Mace, I think, and then 1 on Total. Those
Yeah.
were the 3 that they played for Dallas back when we was asking Dallas.
Wow.
Now skip up. We knew one of the dudes. I think it was at Brian's label or something like that. So we was just telling everybody about him now when we was in New York. Make a long story short, we had them go somewhere, man, and some kind of way they ended up with Noriega's, whoever he was with. And then then that came out and they was gone. So now we didn't even see him for a long time, yo. We move out here and we go in the record plant and we see Pharrell. Pharrell was like, got on the ground, did the same thing. I still remember he was like, hey man, y'all could have easily signed this, something dumb, man. I just want to thank y'all, man. He was like, man, it was God's plan, man. I wouldn't sign. We couldn't sign him anyway. We'd have to ask Dallas because we signed with Dallas.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like that's how 112 and Pharrell together, like how it happened. It's the weirdest thing, man. But
wow.
Stuff like that just happened throughout me and Bob's career, man. Like one thing, like make 3 things pop off. 3 things or 2 things will make 5 things pop off. It just always happened like that. Because you know what? It's like one hit record turns into you sitting in front of somebody more powerful than the next person. Yeah. Now they give you a chance. And now when you walking out, you see the dude, hey man, are you Tim and Bob? Y'all Tim? Hey man, I really want to da-da-da. Now this turns into that. Now Jon B, Someone to Love, we going crazy over it. Found out Babyface did it. And then we all had the same business manager. Come to find out, the business manager worked the deal out for us. Not Babyface, he didn't do it. Our business manager was like, look, I'm managing these 2 guys named Tim and Bob. You need to check them out. Because he was managing Babyface, Jon B, and me and Bob. Wow. Our business manager. So that's how Jon B got to us. So I'm saying it's like it's crazy. Weird how stuff happened, man. Yeah. So our numbers is blown up right now. Like, I don't know where we at, 350, 400 million. So that was because of stuff like that, number one. And then obviously the 90s was like 14 million here, 20 million here, 50 million, you know what I mean? So we're just blessed that we was in that time where it was like, you sold that many? How'd y'all sell that many records? I'm like, it was the way the 90s was, man. You know what I mean? And then if you got one on the album, it did 10 million, guess what? You was on the album. So, you know what I mean? That's the way it worked, man. And just blessed too, man, that we started at that time. Because I think the 90s was the best, man. Yeah. Because, you know, music start changing and here come hip hop. Now R&B got to sound like hip hop. Hip hop got to sound like little R&B. Here come cats, Ja Rule and all them singing on R&B. That made a whole bunch of other, which Ja Rule is responsible for the music right now. You ask me for trap, for them singing on it. I think so too. He's the first rapper singing. Yeah. I was talking to my wife about that the other day, man. So look how that worked. You know what I'm saying? How things work like that, man. So all these dudes with them big hits, man, like, you know what I'm saying? They need to be thanking Ja Rule, man. He was the one who first started. Hey, girl, no, is there you call. I used to love that joint, but, man, he was sounding good on there. Like, you know what I mean? It just led up to this where we at right now. You know? Yeah.
I mean, I'm still tripping out over Dallas Austin passing up on Chad and Pharrell. That's
on everything, man.
That's crazy.
If y'all get the Neptunes on, ask them about that.
Yeah, insane.
Nobody never. It's a hidden story. Nobody wants to tell, because you know what happens when somebody blows up. It's like the person. If a person that was involved in it, that's a little bit like more powerful than you are. They take. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I did that, and you know change their name, and I did this, and I'm the one that came up with this idea, and that. Just leaving people out. That's why when a lot of people be saying me and Bob is overrated, I mean underrated, is because it happened to us so many times, man. We found so many artists, and then all of a sudden we look up, and we either got one song on the big record, two of them, and they said it was gonna be the single, and then it ended up don't. Or they get dropped. It was one of the other, man. It just was one little time period where we was finding a gang of artists, but wasn't getting the credit for it.
Man.
But I'm not. But you know, we're the type of guys, man. I never look at stuff like, damn, man. I don't even want to talk to them no more. Because you know what? I found out, man. Like, you got to keep your energy, you know, aligned right here. He the one that's doing, like, God is the one that's leading the path. This is not you. You just got to follow them little crumbs. You know what I mean? He's navigating for you. It ain't you, man. I'm telling you. First day you start thinking it's you is when you're over. Especially when you're doing this. Because you think about it. We're making nothing into something. You know what I mean? That's creativity. You know what I'm saying? God is the one that created all this stuff. So the word creativity and create, that came from God. That ain't us. Right. So it's like, once you realize that it's God is the one that's, if you just wait and let him like lead you the way, it's all going to happen, bad or good. You just got to count it all joy and move on, man. He got you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just live my life like that, man. You know what I mean? Not to get all religious on you, man, but I am religious, man. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
that's why I'm where I am right now, just sitting here talking to you, man. That's how it happened for me. You know what I mean?
And the business is the business. It's gonna suck at times. I want to talk about that tank and background story later. So remind me to get back to that because Bob told me that story. It's the craziest.
How you know about that, man? You know a lot about us, man. That's crazy.
I've studied.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I want to get into that, but before we do that, I got to ask for a favor. You've told us this gem before, the Tamia record, Into You. There's a part of that song that was originally on a Destiny's Child record that didn't come out. Man, you got to tell me that one.
You're going to get me in trouble, man.
And we got to hear it one day, too.
You're going to get me in trouble, man. I mean, all right, look, man, here's what happened, man. Okay, so, man, Tamia's gonna be mad. I want to work on Tamia's next album.
You're right.
Be mad, man.
We got her mad last time, so you're right.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you though, man. There's no reason for her. I can take this back, man. And we were like family at one time because we knew Grant, because Grant knew a lot of the ball players from Illinois that we knew, and they played in like what's that game they played? Not the Gusman, but the game before where they show all the NBA players and then they go to the NBA, but they get all the best in the country. So he played with some of the players that was like our boys, man, back in Chicago and Peoria and all that. So when it's crazy when Grant was in the session when we was doing Tamia. He was like, man, we just talking. He's like, wait a minute, man, Chicago, Peoria. He said, do y'all know this person? He's like, yeah, that's our boy. My dad cut his hair. We going through that, so we ended up getting cool. So what I'm saying is like, she didn't really know that part is because it was scrambling so fast because Mario is the one, because when we was working on, I think, Vibe and Remix, I think.
Okay.
Or something like that from Boyz II Men. And Mario told us that he was working with Tamia at Quincy's studio. Come over there, y'all can meet Tamia, but most importantly, Quincy. So you be like, Quincy Jones, I'm finna walk over there barefooted, yo. So we go over there, man. We go in there and the A&R Ian. What's up, Ian? If you watching, man, Ian is our boy. He the one box for it. So Ian, and then back in the day, that's when Jay Brown that runs Jay-Z's joint. He was dude. He wasn't even head of A&R yet. He was just had his hand in everything, but he was working for Quest. Yeah. But this dude Ian was the one that was kind of putting Tamia's project together. I remember we would go in like Jay's his office. He said, "Man, check this out, man. This dude, man, I got his publishing. I'm finna help him out." He punched the thing, and it was when I'm off for presidents to represent me. He played Jay-Z's joint. We was like, "What?" Wow. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm finna help him get a publishing deal, or if we could sell whatever." one thing led to another, man, and he over there running the whole thing. We like, wow, man. You see what I'm saying? That's just how stuff work, man. But anyway, just to flip flop.
Yeah, it's all good.
But anyway, so we go in there. We meet everybody. We just sitting there because this is all about Mario and Tamia. He working on it, right? So Mario out of nowhere, man, he just like us. Mario's like, hey, man, look, that dude right there, he pointing at me. He's like, that dude right there is the reason why my drums got changed, man. And then I ended up getting signed with Dollars, but my drums and everything, because Tim gave me his whole crate of break beats and all that. Like, he's responsible for that. How was you, Ian? He was talking about Ian. Ian, he was married to old girl. We'll get to that in a minute because I'm messed up on that too. Yeah. We're gonna be like, what? Because everything just goes like that. We'll get to that. So Ian took me and Bob in another room. I'm just playing joints, man. And then I remember I was on my floor just messing around on my MPC. I sampled Say Yeah from the Commodores. My dad and them used to play that. So I remember this one little piece that I always loved, that Lionel paused for a second. I just took that little, it was like 3 seconds. Took it, kept looping it. I put the Mary Jane girls all night long, them drums. I threw them drums on there. And then that was the beat, really. And then I just took a move, and I hit the move one time, and I sampled it in the MPC. And then I just did the bass with the move, with my hands. Doom, 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 doom. Because I was trying to make it sound like a hip-hop joint. And that was it. So when he heard that, he was like, yo, what's that? Ian did. And I was like, I'm just messing around with it. Yo, man. Okay. Don't show me nothing else. He said, because I'm getting so many records from so many people. Don't show me nothing. Let's just stick with this one right here. So I was like, oh, okay. So he's like, so y'all got any? He said, man, he said, is it written? I'm like, nah, but we write in 5 minutes. That's nothing. He said, I tell y'all what, y'all go write it. Now, to me, it was one where he said, go write it and then come back and then, whatever. So when we went back, we got something to eat and all that. And then me and Bob we got something to eat, went to the hotel rooms. And as soon as I opened my door, I came over with the hook. I really like what you, I'm like, hold on, wait, let me make sure this is it. So I hit Bob up. I said, Bob, I got the hook, yo. He was like, what? I sung it to him. He said, oh, dope. I said, come on with the melody of the verses, man, and then we'll figure it out. The next day, we was trying to figure out where we could go. Ian was like, look, we're going to put y'all in the studio, and we want, do y'all got anybody that would, that can demo it? We was like, yeah, we just got to find out who's here, whatever. We was calling everybody, man. Then we called Brandy, and Brandy's like, man, I could come later. We was like, all right, cool. Because we was already starting to work on her stuff, too. We were doing demos and hoping that something land, too, on her. Only person we could think of, we had to call Rio, man. We was like, Mario, man, look, we're in the studio, man. We're going to have him have a car, and then we just want you to do the hook real quick. So he comes over, he do the hook, and I think Brandy come over a little later, and she did like a couple things up under there. I don't know if we took it out or not. I'm sure we kept it in there, man. I'm just going to be real. I'm telling it real, right? So, and then Bob came up with the first verse. So now we go back. Ian hears and he's like, oh, this is dope, man. Hold on, let me call Tamia. Call Tamia in. She comes in. Now Bob write the verse. Right. Remember I was telling you how we like to do it.
Yeah.
He said, just start singing, just start humming. So she started humming a little bit. Bob had the verse in 5 minutes. He said, okay, here's the first verse. So she started singing it. And while she was singing it, I started working on the second verse. Right? So then she was like, you know what, guys? Is it okay if I write a little something on the second verse? We was like, no, go ahead. Because in our mind, we like, I mean, if she involved, maybe she'll be, it might be a singer. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, she'll feel more connected, all that. So she wrote the back piece of the second verse. And then I wrote that, how I feel when I'm with you, the breakdown. But I think you're true. That was on a song that we did for Destiny's Child. I'll send it to you so you can hear.
All right.
But I just, for some reason, I was like, this feels like this can go right here. You know what I'm saying? So we just tried it with Mario. We already had it when we came in, and they liked it. So I was like, oh, cool. Because you know when you write, man, you got it. If you got a whole bunch of songs that didn't come out,
Yeah.
it's your right to piece some stuff together and all
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't know where it came from. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I did. That part came from one of the records, the pre-chorus part. It just came from that. It's just
Wow.
to me, it just she never knew that. That's why I think she kind of it got all mixed up. Like, wait a minute, because we never told. We didn't even need to, because when we came in with the hook and the pre-chorus already done.
Yeah.
But that's why I think she got mad, because she was thinking that somebody said it was for Beyonce did the whole thing, and it wasn't that, man. It was just only one thing that I think you're true. That part I just took it from a song and added in there. Tamia killed it. Rest is history.
Yep. Tamia, we love you, so don't get mad at us either.
We love you, sis. That's what happened. Just that one piece, man. I had a chance to talk to you. Like we text back and forth, but we didn't actually physically talk, so I can tell you. But that's what happened. I'll send it to you so you guys can hear it, can put it up if y'all want. You know what
Sounds good, man.
Because Beyonce murdered it.
Yeah, I got it.
In My Life is the name of it.
Yeah, I got to hear that. You have so many songs in your vault, man. Like I've seen you play 112 records, Mary J records, Donnell records. We got to hear all of that. But I mean, you have so many hits that we could go through, from Jon B to Case, SIsqo. But I want to talk about this song right here, because I know this is significant to you, because I think you did the majority of this one, and it's one of my favorites actually. The Tyrese record, I'm Sorry.
Oh,
yo, that song is incredible.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
There's a story behind that. It's crazy because I'm working with Tyrese, right? Me and him was talking about that song, man.
Yeah.
We did. Do you know, man? Because Bob, I think his song was just kind of, maybe he was like 1 or 2, and we had just moved and getting everything together out here. So he was still going back and forth, like just whenever he felt like it, he's going back to Atlanta. Yeah. So it was Christmas, I think, Christmas Eve. We did that on Christmas Eve, man. I was already at the piano when Tyrese came in, right? Yeah. Tyrese comes in, what up, man? I was like, what's up, man? So he sat down, and he had this weird look on his face, man. He was like, I'm like, what's up, kid? He was like, man. He was like, man, my girl, man. He was like, I keep telling her to come with me, but she don't want to do it. And I'm like, what? He was like, I'm about to get this gig on MTV. Remember when Tyrese was on MTV? Yep. And he was doing the what was that? It was when there was
the
that
spring
little thing at a
the summer spring
summer spring thing, and Tyrese was doing that. He was just about to go do that when we doing. So he talking, and he had just bought a house in Temecula, and we was talking about that. He was like, man, you need to get a crib in Temecula, because I was still staying in between a hotel and figuring out if I wanted, what apartment or house, whatever. I couldn't even figure it out. So I was still living between hotels and all that. So he goes, yeah, man. So she's saying she don't want to do it, man. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to go move. I think it was in Miami. Yeah. He was doing it. He's like, when I move, I'm gone. He said, so I'm not gonna be able to be with her, man. And I'm like, he said, but anyway, man. He said, man, what's up, man? Like, I said, no, let's talk about it, man. He's like, yeah, man, we just going back and forth, man. He was like, and I really love her too, man. He said, man, I was thinking about marrying her, man. He kept talking more and more, and that was making me get some ideas for Sorry, right? So then he was like, yeah, man. Then his phone rung. He was like, hold on, man, I'll be right back. So he did that. Now I'm just messing with some chords, and I had the hook. So 10 minutes when he came in, he said, hey, I said, man, what you think about this, man? And I was singing song and playing piano. So he was like, you just came up with that? I was like, yeah, just from what you just told me about, your situation. Yeah. He said, okay, man. They said y'all niggas, you was different. I didn't know you was different like that. I'm like, nah, man, I write quick, man. I said, especially if you could tell me what you're going through and all that. I said, it's easier for me to be thinking about that and a melody. I was like, I can, it's one of the gifts, guy. He just gave it to me, man. I can just do that really, really fast. So we do that, and then I think he was hoarse. I think that night, because he wanted to hurry up and get right to it. So I went into the control room and did the track real quick, came out and played the piano live on it. And then I did the backgrounds. And then I just put Tyrese on the top of it because I think he was hoarse back then. And then I think he wrote a piece of the second verse, I think.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I had it, man, but he wanted some publishing, so he my man. Because I knew we was gonna be working on every album. I like, go ahead, man. But that was one of them ones, like, you know, spontaneous. Came over to, because if you listen to the pre-chorus, that's all me. All the backgrounds is all me. He didn't even get on there because it was so hoarse. But he wanted to do the joint that Christmas Eve. Yeah. I was like, because the next day obviously was Christmas, so we got it done that night. It was done. Wow. And then I mixed it.
Amazing.
I sub-mixed it and I gave it to somebody. I think I gave it to Manny. And all he did is just A-B my mix, and then he just made mine like a super duper rough mix sound incredible. And that was it. Wow. That's how that song came to be, though, man. It's just like that.
That song is amazing.
Life experiences, man.
Yeah. That's how the best songs are written. But Tim, we've got a little bit of time left. We got so many stories still to go through here. Okay. I could spend 3 hours.
I'll come back anytime, man. Don't worry about it. I got a million star ads, man. A million. We need to hear, man.
Honestly, you and I could sit here and talk about Bobby V for the next 5 hours. Because that guy is amazing.
My little bro, I ain't even see him, man. Austin, what's up, man? You know what? I'm sorry. I'm not even looking at everything, man. Hey, when I tell you a story about him too, man, Austin Brown.
Yeah.
That's Reeby's son.
Yeah.
He's so talented, man. That's another one, man. We'll go. We got to go into that too. We'll do it on the next one because.
Well, yeah.
That was that's one. Bobby's one. It's them was like artists that like I really like spent a lot of talking about, like they was like my little brothers. They was like staying with me, living with me. We going to eat together. We going to shop together. I'm giving them my whole swag. Like, look, go look at my closet, man. Anything you want. You know what I mean? If it don't fit you, we'll go get it. It was stuff like that with them.
Yeah.
Augie and Bobby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we can go all day on that.
Yeah, I want to get into Bobby here and that Asian sound that you created, because that was some like next level stuff. Like you went on a run with that Asian sound and I couldn't get enough of it. I love that sound.
Because you're Asian.
Exactly, right?
You familiar with them sounds, huh?
I am, and I was like, man, this is crazy. No one was doing it like you were. Like, talk about that sound and putting it on Bobby V.
You know what, man? What's crazy, man, is I had that sound since we first started, 93.
Wow.
In Atlanta. But I didn't like when I showed people, man, they would going jumping up and down like all the other ones. So I was like, all right. So I just was just on the side, just like, because I buy a lot of imports, man, like from everywhere, man. And Canada got the best imports, man. They got like 3 or 4 record stores out there, dude. I mean, stuff you can get stuff, man, from that you can't get anywhere. So I was doing a lot of imports from them. Then I would do them like at 50 CDs and albums at a time, like all the time from Canada, right? Yeah. Skip up. Here comes Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Mind you, I already had that. They came out. That movie came out when I moved out here. So I'm like, dang. So I sampled some parts of that, but I already had stuff that sound like that because I had traditional sounding Asian from Misa Janucci and Juan, this other dude I sampled from a lot. There was a lot of dudes, but one of the other dudes too. That's one of my favorites, man. If I can get his name, because Mario used the sample for "Can't Be Friends" from Trey Songz.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to him, but anyway, I always sample stuff from him because he the one that did. You remember that joint Firecracker? I think J-Lo sampled that. Okay, that was from YMO. Okay. He was in that group, and then he went off to go do some stuff on his own, man. If somebody can say his name, man, he did a lot. I mean, this dude, man, I was obsessed with him, man, since I can remember. But he did that joint, and then he spent off and started doing soundtracks, movie scores, anyway.
Sure.
Skip up. I'm in the movie theater just looking, man. I went to go see Hero from Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
No, not Hero, Last Samurai.
Okay.
Tom Cruise. So I'm just in there, and it was before a session. I was just in there, man, and just listening, man. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, it sounds good. I'm just paying attention to the movie more, man. But then that, but it was real slow. I was like, what the? It was a little different than a lot of the stuff that I had, man. So I'm like, I gotta leave. I left. I didn't even finish the movie, man. I went straight to when one of these stores was over back in the day, man. I went and grabbed it, took it straight up to the crib, took that part, speeded it up, and I already had a whole bunch of flutes and stuff. I know how to play flute too, but I'm not real fluid, but it's enough to do notes and stuff like that real clean. So I had a whole bunch of wooden flutes, and then I sampled them too. So I was just like putting a whole bunch of effects on them and all that. Make a long story short, I did that in 10 minutes. Slow down the track. So then right after that, I ended up doing like 4 more that sound like that. And then when Hero came out, I went back to Crouching Tiger. I had like, before you know it now, with the stuff I already had now I had like 500 joints that sounded like that. But every time I play one, everybody was like, I like that. But that was it. Yeah. So one day, I never forget, we was in the studio, right? And remember Touch Me, that's on Bobby's first album? Yeah. That was going to be a single because LL jumped on it for us. Yeah. So, you know, LL was hot, extra hot. So we had him on there. And then I was like, man, but Bobby just going to be just like all the other cats that's out, man. I was like, and there was a lot of people in the room at one time. I said, hey, look, man, see what y'all think about this. Now, mind you, Bobby's staying with me. He heard me messing with stuff, but he didn't. I did that, I think, before he moved with me, the Slow Down track. Yeah. So I did it all, again, like I did So Into You, all that. I do all the basic start off in the drum machine. I sample everything in there and all that. And then Bob came in and did the reverse guitar on it. And then we wrote it together, obviously, all of us, me and Bobby. But I played that one, man. Everybody was like, what is that? I'm like, that's what I've been waiting for, that kind of response, man. Like, I said, no, I said, Bob, you already know, man. He said, no, but this one sounded a little different, man. Because I started adding more bongos and stuff to things, too. Yeah. So Bob was like, man, hey, man, drop that real quick, man. Put that on the reels right now, man. I was like, all right. Put it on there, man. I had the hook, and then we came up with all the other stuff, and then I came up with pre-chorus, and then Bob came up with the melody to the verse, first verse like he usually do. Yeah. He wrote it. And then second verse was me and Bobby. And then that, you know that, I came with that. And then like a flower bloom, I came with that part. And then we all just glued it together. Then Asian R&B came to be.
Smash. Yep.
It's so funny, man. I was in the studio with Teddy, man, and Teddy was like, yeah, man, so he was trying to come up with some idea with a lot of producers get together. He said, and then y'all do that, and then he said, and then y'all do y'all Asian R&B thing. I was like, oh, okay, he paying attention. He the one said Asian R&B. I ain't even have a name for it. He said, man, and y'all do y'all Asian R&B thing. And I was like, we're gonna start calling it, man. Because Teddy the one that said it, you know what I mean? So man, we had to run with that, man. I couldn't even think of nothing no other way, because when one hit, I was like, oh, I could slow it. It could be a slow joint, mid, or however you want it, Asian, because I got so many samples. Yeah. Or we can play it. There's a lot of times I played a lot of it too, and didn't even add something. You know what I mean? So yeah. It was Ryato Sakamoto was his name. It just came to me. The guy I'm telling you about that did the Firecracker. He was in Yellow Magic Orchestra. Yeah. And he went and did his own thing. Yeah. So, I'm telling you, man, there's so much I want to talk about, man, because a lot of people don't know this stuff. Yeah. So I'm just trying to just get it on there. What's up, Jimmy? Yeah, and those drums are. What up, boy? Oh, you good now? Okay, all right. All right, Tim. I'm looking down, man. I'm just talking, man. So I'm sorry, man. No, it's all good, man. I mean, we're gonna have to do this again. We have so many stories, but we got to, man. dude, I
Got it.
haven't even. I'm telling you, I haven't even cracked the surface, man, because you know, it's so many stories, but it's hard to condense them because if you
Yeah.
leave something out, then it
Yep.
won't be what it was. So I have to tell the. I gotta tell the whole thing, man. But I'm trying to make it something like, this happened though too with this. That happened with that. It's like you gotta just tell it all, man. So
Yeah,
you know how it is.
we're
What's
gonna
up,
have to put
cuz?
together
Yeah.
we're gonna have to put together a podcast or some type of Netflix special just to have like chapters because I think that's the
Oh
only
yeah.
way we're gonna do this, man.
Oh
But
yeah. And then also, man,
yeah,
I'm gonna do a compilation album where like all the artists that I did
wow,
music with didn't make it. I'm gonna go do the
wow,
deal. And then it's something else really big that I gotta tell you too. I
yeah,
think I think that Tom kind of told you it's in the
yeah,
works and
yeah,
it's really flowing.
yeah,
But this is gonna be major. I'm talking about put it this way, put if it happened, put exec worldwide
yeah,
and a label together. I ain't gonna even say the label.
wow,
I got offered something crazy. I think I
wow,
might go ahead and do it. I'm just waiting for the pandemic because the pandemic's shutting everything down.
yeah,
So,
throwing
but
everything
no,
out.
we've been talking, and the talk stopped for a minute, obviously because of the pandemic, because all labels had to shut down. But no, it's pretty much all the way on. So
Yeah. So Tim, I'm gonna ask you this because when Bob told me this story, it was like it's the music industry like in a bucket. It's everything bad about the music industry, but a lot of learning lessons. That Tank situation with Blackground. Can you tell us about that? Because like when Bob told me, I was like, no way that happened. But I mean, the music is on YouTube. It's incredible. It's not on any album. Just tell me what happened there.
even Tank still saying we got to put it out. When I see him, he's like, "No, we still gonna put that out. You know that, right?" I'm like, nah, man. I see him at the grocery store, everything, because he don't live that far away from me. So I
Yeah.
saw him in the grocery store like last year, I think. He's like, first thing when he saw me, he's like, you know, we still got because you know what real simple what happened is we got with Barry and with Blackground, Barry.
Yeah.
And he started listening to the stuff, him and Jomo, and they was like, oh man, he was like, man, we got to get y'all on all this stuff, man. So he had just signed this dude. He had this white boy. Did Bob tell you about him?
Yep. Yep.
This white boy. We did his whole album, man. We did
Mhm.
that whole album, and then we was about to work on like 3 other things they had us ready for. But then they stopped. It's like, man, y'all go ahead and rock with Tank first. We was like, oh, Tank, because he been
Yeah.
our boy for the longest. Because we met him through Dave Hollister. He
Yeah.
came in when we was doing Take Care Home. Matter of fact, that's when we first met.
Wow.
Tank. Yeah, we've been cool ever since. So we ended up, we got in with Tank. We just kept doing one after another. He just like us, man. He go fast.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Don't have to write nothing down, go in the booth. Like, you know what I'm saying? If we got the track and he feel it, he go right in the booth. And then we either write it there or he got it or whoever it may be, whatever. So we ended up with a whole album, man, right?
Yep.
And out of nowhere, man, Jomo took us to dinner one time. I'll never forget. He was like, hey, man, so my dad, man, he ain't feeling the industry like he used to, man. He might step out, so I might run background. So I'm just letting y'all know, you know, I'm gonna take care of y'all for the. His name was Jay Lewis, the white guy.
Yeah.
Dude, man, looked like Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
but voice was it was so silky and smooth, man. We did joints. I'm telling you, because I don't think those is on it. It might be a few of them is on the
Now I'll
album,
take a
but
look. I don't think they are. No.
man, y'all, man, we did some
Yeah.
stuff. People gonna be like, "That ain't y'all, man." We did
Yeah.
some, man. I went way out. I'm talking about I was doing like stuff that sound like the Police. Like we was doing some, man. We went everywhere, man. But anyway, he was like, "So I'm gonna pay y'all for that, which y'all did on Tank already. I'm gonna take care of you with that, with y'all back in on that and da. Make a long story short, dog. We went over there to go see what they was doing because we used to always go over there because they was gonna start managing us too at the time.
Oh
We
wow.
went over there, man. The doors were shut.
Mm.
That was it.
Wow.
We called him Barry. He ain't answering the phone. And then we called Jomo, and then he was like, "Yo, man, I'm in the middle of something." He kept saying that, "I'm in the middle of something. I'm gonna get back with you." Make a long story short, man, it was just like disappeared, just like
Wow.
nothing. Mind you, man, we got a whole album ready on Tank, man.
Yeah.
Tank was all ready, man. We were so bummed out, man. And then what happened was, too, is the joints, somebody did this over at the Boom Boom Room. I still don't know to this day, man. But to make a long story short, I think what they did was all our joints, they took them and they had them. And they must have, you know how it go, man. Back then, when it wasn't like blockers, it's a little better now. But like back then, if you put it in your iTunes, man, like people knew how to get in your iTunes, or like if you share with somebody. Make a long story short, all them joints was on YouTube. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Damn. So that was most of the album. It's still like 4 that's not.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Still 4 of the ones we did on Tank. And then I don't think Jay Lewis's joints made it. So just waiting for the right time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now we was bummed, man, because we did some fire on Tank, man.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness,
man. Yeah.
But, you know, that's one of them things, man, that you got to have a quick, forgetful memory. You got to be like, okay, what I got to do tomorrow? It's like, it's one of them things. Okay, what's on the menu tomorrow? It's like, okay, what do? You can't do this. It's already done. You can't rewind, you know?
Yeah, Tim, I'll tell you a crazy story. I was just talking to Bob about this like 2 weeks ago. I came across the record that you and him did for Dre, the one that Jay-Z wrote. That's on YouTube.
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah, someone found a cassette from like 2000s and like ripped it.
It's on YouTube right now?
Yeah, it was crazy. I showed Bob 2 weeks ago, and he was like, I can't believe that's on YouTube. People just,
that's crazy.
They're finding these things.
It's crazy, man. I know Bob told you the whole story, but man, we actually went through the whole album with him, man. That album right there with Dre. And that clink, clink, clink. I don't know if it's that one. The Hey You. Is it Hey You? What's the name of it?
Which one?
Hey You.
Yeah.
Hey
Let me take a look.
It's only a song from Still Dre.
Yep, it's Hey You. Yep. Hey You. Yep, it's on YouTube right now.
Play the beginning of it so everybody can hear, man. Like,
all right,
that's where the piano part came from.
Let me see if I can do this.
Can you do it?
Yeah, let me try.
If not, next time we come on, I can do it.
I think I can do it. It's pretty bad quality though, so let me see if I can do this. I'm just hoping it loads right now. All right.
Yeah. Wow. Give me one of them pops.
You can hear it, right?
Yeah. Go back. What did he say?
Yeah.
What did he say in the beginning so people can know? What did he say?
Tim, wow. Give me one of them pops.
Now Dre don't do that.
Nope.
He ain't saying your name on there. You know what I'm saying? He don't do that. Name a joint that he said they name at the beginning.
Nope.
In his whole career. You heard our music, man, through our boy Chuck. We call him Big Chuck. Big Chuck, what's up? I love you, man. Chuck is the one, he ended up being an A&R for Dre. So Dre our music. He was like, hold on, these are little R&B dudes. So he's like, man, fly them out here right now, man. So we stayed at his crib, everything, man. In his at his crib, and just went to work, man. Mailman was there. It was me, Mailman, and Dre.
Wow.
And Bob. And we went through that album, man. And then they didn't make it, but some got twisted. You can hear them if you go through that album.
Yeah.
Twisted some up and took some parts of a lot of stuff that we did.
Yeah.
And they didn't give us credit, man, which that's Dre. I ain't got too much to say about that.
It's the music industry.
It's Dre.
Yeah.
It's Dre. So I'll leave it there. He can do whatever he want, man. He's the man.
Yeah. And you know what? Next time we get on here to finish this off, we'll play the actual record so people get to hear it. But for those that want to, it's on YouTube. So it's called Hey You. So go check that out.
Yeah, you guys check it out, man. So y'all can have the likes go up in that, man.
Yeah.
It's called Hey You. And we did it on Dre. That was like the first record for that album. What was that album, man? Still Dre?
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
you guys check that out, man.
A lot of history there.
A lot of history, man. We I'm telling you, man, we haven't covered I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
It's just not enough time in one. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not enough time. You talking 20 and change, and then now we ain't even got into my career.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like it's so much, you know what I mean? So That's why I probably sound like I'm long-winded. It ain't that. It's just that it's just so many things happened in my career.
Yeah.
And with me and Bob, and then now this right here, what, 15 singles, man, in a year and a half? It's like,
Yeah.
I got stories on that, how that happened, man.
Yeah.
Like, I did them right. Look, you see behind? Oh, you can't. Look, check this out. My little setup right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I got just a lot of,
Wow.
got a lot of equipment all over the place, man. Look, gang of guitars. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That, I even got them sitting over there. I got the bass over there. I'm going quick because so you can't see how messy it is in here.
It's all good.
My wife's gonna be mad at me too, so we can't do that part.
No.
I'll be in the doghouse. But no. Oh, somebody just said As Yet. We did a whole album on As Yet, and they got dropped from when we had our deal with DreamWorks.
Wow.
Whole album.
Yep. Wow.
Babyface did the Last Night. You remember that?
Yep.
They got signed to DreamWorks. We do the whole album. They got dropped.
Crazy.
But then turn around and then Papa Roach, Last Resort. We did that, got them signed, and then that do that. So it's like, that's the way this music industry works. It's weird, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know that, man, that we do rock music too.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that I had to go back and be like, wait a minute.
Look at it. It's right on Wikipedia, man. Like, we got them popping off, man. And then
Tamar's album as well.
Alien Ant Farm
Tamar's debut.
Off of that. Oh, say it again, I'm sorry.
Tamar's debut on DreamWorks as well. Amazing.
We did 6 or 7 on that one.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, but they didn't have pieces in place. That would have did really big. Gerald was over there by himself, and he was just putting everything together. So that didn't do. You know who was over there? Who was A&R over there?
Who?
Jason Joshua, man.
Okay. Wow.
He was an A&R over there.
Wow.
Matter of fact, he was head of A&R on the black side.
Wow.
Yeah. So me and Bob had a label deal with Gerald's side, and then we had a production deal and a label deal on the other side. It was weird. It's like DreamWorks was split up. We had 3 label deals over there, dude.
That's crazy.
That's how big it was. It was Mike and Mo. Oh yeah, Mike and Mo Austin. Them the ones that started Warner Brothers. They signed Prince.
Yeah.
Mike and Mo. So they gave us our label deal over there, and then somebody else gave us a production deal. It's so much to tell, man. We can go for days, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. What needs to happen? A sermon.
Oh, Eric Sermon's in here. Nice.
Sermon was over there. He had a deal. That's how we got on Dave. It's from Eric.
Wow.
Dave Hollister was signed to Eric's deal.
Wow.
Thanks for that, man.
Yeah.
That's how we got a big record from that Take Care Home. And then the single that was on the first album, remixed that. Eric had to remix that. So that happened too.
Yeah.
So, man, yo.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's why we need to promote. That's what I was telling T. I said, Tom, we got to promote this for me a week in advance. So a lot of people can come and hear and see and hear these stories and listen to the music and like, wait a minute, I didn't know that. I thought it was like this. I didn't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to set up something else. Maybe do this like weekly, have you and Bob. Just tell stories.
We
man.
gladly do it, man.
Yeah. I mean, hey. Tim,
Tony L. Dixon.
Tony Dixon's in here too. Tim, I'm just going to ask you one.
Look, everybody just coming in now.
Yeah.
Tony got, man.
Tony's a monster. Tony's
awesome. Tony had a really good year, man. With Tony Braxton, he killed.
That's my guy.
Yeah, on the last album and this album, then he got like two other hits, man. I hitting him up and be like, because I know what happened to him too, man. It didn't go right where he was at, and now God makes a whole other way for you. Pop off. So, what's up, Tony?
All right,
26. Look, everybody just coming in. We can't now. We gotta leave.
Well, Tim, I'm going to ask you one more. I'm going to ask you one more question here, because R&B in 2020, it's not the same for a lot of people like it was in the 90s and the early 2000s. I think you've laid the blueprint on how to do it right. Like when I listen to Shawn Stockman's album, Bobby V's album, the ones that you did over the last 3 years, like you're doing it right. You're making it progressive, but you're still incorporating what we love, the great melodies, the great bridges, the real instrumentation. Like, what is your advice to these young guys out here that are trying to make R&B in 2020?
That you don't have to trap everything.
Yeah.
Real simple. Everybody think, man, oh, everything on the radio is trapping because even white artists is trapping in it.
Yeah.
Nah, it's still, you can still find the elements of trap and make it sound like it's trapping. It's just the way you gotta cut it in half and how you filter sounds and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with the lyrics and with the melodies and all that, just take bits and pieces. You don't have to make it. Man, come on, man. We can still make melodies, man. And then you know what? I'm gonna tell you what's going on with this pandemic. I think everybody's in the crib land is working, man. Listening to their albums again, listening to Al Green, listening to Teddy Pendergrass, listening to Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, on and on. Prince, you know, on and on. And now what's gonna happen is I think R&B is gonna come back even stronger because it's like the pandemic made everything just freeze.
Yeah.
So now it's like anything's game now. If it's a good record, man, it's gonna do what it's do.
Yeah.
Think about it. Feeling or something, man. I did on Shawn. That's no trapping in that.
Nope.
None.
Nope.
All I do, no trapping in that.
No
I was
trapping.
telling you with Tony what he just did with Tony Braxton.
Yeah.
Tony, no trapping. Number one. We talking all #1 records.
Yep.
You ain't got a trap, man. That's what's delaying R&B to getting back and making the playing field even.
Yeah.
Because everybody think, oh, they're trapping. No, let them have that. That's cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like, if you go back in time, if you even think about it, man, like when Elvis Presley was doing this thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure people that was a little older than him that was doing music was like, what the heck is he doing? It's like, but you know what? And let him have that. Let him be Elvis and do him. You know what I'm saying? When Mike came on Off the Wall album and all that, he was doing chords and all them, and Homeboy from Heatwave, they was doing chords. You like, that don't match. And then that sound like jazz, but it wasn't jazz though. So, but R&B lovers like us looking at it like, when I heard, I can't help it if I wanted to, when he was going major to minor real quick and all that, I was like, But then when you keep listening to it, you like, hey, that is crazy though.
Nope.
So sometimes, you know, you just gotta let that be that. And either you want to take some bits and pieces from it, or not. That's what makes music so wonderful and incredible to me, is that you could just put this way, man. You are what you got right here, man.
Yeah.
You are what you got, especially with music, man. Like the more information and more people you listen to, the more on and on and on, the more you got to pull from. You know what I'm saying? Because everything been done.
Yeah.
It's just how you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do that. It's like shuffling cards, man. Like the ace ain't on the top no more. It's in the middle, it's at the bottom. You know what I mean? On and on and on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't eating a cake with I don't want a square of this. I want to make it a rectangle, maybe. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you got to think outside the box, man, and at the same time, don't be stupid and try to go way off. Because that ain't working like it used to be with like neo soul and all that.
Yeah.
Had that little thing.
Yeah.
That ain't really gonna like push the needle. So
yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, dude, wait a minute. Look, I just got these. I can't even hold them all up, but look, I just got these in the last.
Oh wow!
Last week.
Wow.
This is 4 stacks like that. I'm still going through vinyl, man.
Wow.
Look, man, they don't know about that, man. Love in the Rain.
Wow.
You know look. Matter of fact, look. Here's what I do too, and my wife drive my wife crazy because sampling off vinyl, they all got different characters. So look, this one, same thing. Same album. Look. Here's Herb Alpert right there.
Wow.
Right?
Yep.
But same album right here.
It's the little details.
Because you know what? Like when you're sampling stuff from vinyl, they got character, man. The character's different. The needle might pop at a different place, or like might have a little more scratch to it.
Yeah.
In the other song than the other song. So I don't know. That's a whole nother segment we can talk about. Look.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. That's some new
Oh
stuff
yeah.
right there.
Because if you think about it, like with me, like I take care of my albums. I like them sounding clean. And
Yeah.
then I remember when I sampled from all the time I sampled from somewhere else, it popped or did something right where I wanted to do that sample. I'm like, that's gonna be dope when I loop that.
Mm.
Piece of that guitar, that snare that got that little nastiness at the end of it. I still do that to this day, man.
Wow.
My pack, do my drum packs, all that stuff. I still do it.
Wow.
So I don't know, man. All the people coming in now, man. It's crazy that we leaving, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this again
We got to
soon.
do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna
We
have
got
to
to
do
do
it
it
again
again.
soon.
I'm just looking back and I'm like, dang, man. E.
People,
Sermon got Tony coming in.
hmm Yeah, we're gonna
Jay
have to.
Morris. Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need to get them ready for like a week before so we can do this, man.
yeah,
Educate. And you know what too, man? And I'm not saying that like, I'm just this dude that know it all, but I
yeah,
know what I know. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I know Tim Kelley knows himself so much that I know how to make a Tim Kelley record pop off.
yeah.
Now, Tony know how to do Tony.
Hmm.
Babyface know how to do Babyface. Jam and Lewis know how to do Jam and Lewis. I pull from everybody, but
Yeah,
I make it mine.
yeah,
And I can talk to these little younger producers on how to do that without copying it.
yeah,
Because I want that's what I kind of do. I did it at NAM, I'm doing demos, but I'm showing people like, look, you do it like this because I got an endorsement Arteria, so I did
right.
that. So I want to do that more, man. Just show these young producers, man, like pick up an instrument, man.
Yeah,
Even if you just like 2 fingers with a chord, man.
yeah,
Two notes is a chord. You know what I'm saying? Like find out where that at. You know what I mean? Even on the guitar, before you know it, man, you learning how to play a guitar or a keyboard, But
hmm
we can get into that, man, because
We'll get into it.
I really wanna, just say some things to young producers, like stuff like that too, man. You
Yeah,
know?
like I said, Tim. At some point, we got to get you. We got to get Bob. We got to just run this whole clinic and just show them all the hard work that went into this. But
Let's do it.
we're gonna have to do that another time, Tim.
Let's do it.
I appreciate you taking the time out, telling us all these
Man,
great stories.
I appreciate you guys, man. You guys really, man, y'all back me and Bob up since way back. I don't know if it
Yeah,
was with Tom back then.
yep,
You
whole
were?
time. Yep, whole
Man,
time.
y'all used to always have us some magazines, man, and like on you guys' website, man, and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And thank you, man, for, keeping our name alive and, keeping R&B alive, just period, man. You guys are doing a great job. And I wish I had more followers, you know what I mean?
we're,
But it's gonna
we're
build
working on
because,
it.
my followers is low too because
Yeah,
Bob started our Instagram and all that. I didn't even know what Instagram was because I was too busy over here I didn't know that was gonna be the future. Bob was like, hey, yo, Instagram? And so we got to get one. I was like, go ahead. So we had a gang of followers. So I had to start all the way over once I got my endorsements and I started doing drum
yeah,
packs. That's why my numbers are so low, but who cares? I'm
yeah.
just letting you know why that is what it is. But
It's all good.
people like us,
Yeah,
we need people coming more so they can get more knowledge on R&B because R&B is the if you think about it, it's the beginning.
yep,
If you think about it. If you
yep,
talk about gospel's R&B. R&B is, yeah,
yep,
it's all the same.
yep.
So even country music, pop music, it all came from R&B and gospel, man. Like
Yep,
what we do, what we
yep,
doing.
yep. So,
I'm
man,
preaching. We're gonna talk about that too.
yeah, man.
We're gonna talk
It's
about
just,
it.
man, it's just crazy just to end this off, man. Like you and Tom talk a lot. I talk a lot actually with Bob, and just all together we're family. So
Oh yeah,
anytime you need us,
absolutely.
you've got our support. So just keep us posted, man.
Appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it, man. All right.
All right, absolutely. You take care, Tim. We'll talk again soon. All
Will
right.
do, man.
All right. Take care.
Okay, man.
All right. That was Tim Kelley. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll do it again soon. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll be back.